Holds up, Iron Breakers. How's everybody doing today on this fine Monday afternoon? Hopefully you're all doing good. Hopefully we can improve on that with another episode of Cons Anvil. It has been a hot minute since we recorded a Cons Anvil. It's because it's just been such a crazy busy year, dude. Way too many releases earlier in the year, and just even now, as I was getting ready to we just came back from vacation, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so what are all the things that I need to get started working on? And I'm already overwhelmed, dude. It's absolutely insane. There's just so interesting because it's not even the entirety of the industry for me. It's just the games that I tend to cover. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Beautiful beard, oh my god. Yeah, the beard is back. I told you guys it was going to grow right back. It is what it is. Oh, man. Good stuff. And I'm not early. I was exactly on time. Hey, Katamai, Boric, Evo, Dave, Pascal Calais, Victor, Vile Wendigo, Eris MH, Juan, 7. Very much being grossing at this for 39 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. As per usual, when it comes to the Cons Anvil, we're going to start things out by giving shout outs to the Thanes. So thank you very much, Slam Iron, Dan Pribernow, Eugenie, Colin Lashore, ProMag, and Louise. Thank you very much for being grossly incandescent. God damn it, YouTube. Let me just see if there's anything I can do. I'm on the YouTube primary server. I can switch to the backup server, but it's a YouTube thing. Jesus the lag. That's why he's kind of back. Really? Twitch is reporting everything fine. Oh god damn it. Okay, let me swap to the back. It's gonna be like that, huh, YouTube? It's gonna be one of those days. How about now, guys? Try it now. Cleared up? Yeah. It's the primary servers are getting overloaded, I guess. Eugenie! Thank you very much for continuing to be grossly incandescent as a thing! You absolute Giga Chad. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Safer, thank you very much for being grossly incandescent for 29 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. And Cromag! Thank you very much for remaining as a thing for 38 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, we switched back to the YouTube backup servers. That appears to have fixed it. This is great. Like, we're coming back on the first stream, and YouTube's already crapping all over itself. Hey, Ark, I wanted to watch your waifu video, but it was chock full of spoilery cutscenes, so I couldn't do it. I tried watching it, but then I'm like, wait, I haven't seen that cutscene. Wait, I haven't seen that cutscene. Bro just literally picked all of the cutscenes of the end of the game and stuck them all in one video. That's what you did, Ark. Are you happy with yourself? Yeah, I've heard about it, Tokumeja, and like I said, we're going to talk about it later. Shut up, or is... You got sun up, or is it YouTube? Welcome back. No, I got some sun, Pascal. Thank you very much for the souls. Eugenie, what the hell? Dude, what the hell? Eugenie, you crazy bastard. Thank you so much for the souls, dude. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. You are far too kind. Thank you so much. Oh, man. We wait for Pragmata now. Pragmata, I think I'm going to be able to, I think we're going to be able to do something with that game soon. I wasn't able to review it, as you guys can imagine, because I was away, but we're going to be playing it for sure. Yes, I am. Hurry up and finish the game, slow ass. What do you mean, hurry up? You told me to do the exact opposite when we did the podcast. You guys remember in the podcast where he told me, yeah, no, man, you're doing the right thing. Don't do it like I did. Don't rush it. Now he's coming into my stream telling me like, hurry it up, bitch. What the hell? Oh, man. And you, Jenny, you're absolutely insane. Thank you so much, dude. That's crazy. Oh, man. I just picked it up and they're already being disbanded. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I wasn't able to review Pragmata, guys, because I was away. It's been crazy. I've played through Stories 3-4 times already. Yeah, I know, but then again, I had 2 weeks where I couldn't play anything. So there's that. You guys want to know what the funny thing is? I actually left a computer turned on. So I had a computer that I could play Stories 3 in. And the idea was that I was going to Steam Link from where I was in Brazil, and everything should be hunky-dory, because usually you can just Steam Link from just about anywhere. Except, you know, my Brazilian friends out there, valeu, galera! My Brazilian friends out there will be very familiar with this. Brazilian internet fucking sucks! It sucks so bad. You guys think you had bad lag in the stream earlier before I switched to the backup servers? You should have seen the lag I had trying to Steam Link into my PC. You guys should have seen how bad the lag was. You'd like press forward on the analog stick and wait 2 fucking business days to see the character move. It was that bad. So yeah, I just sent the kill order on Steam Link to shut the computer down. I was like, yeah, this is not happening. Fuck that shit. Good old papaya routers. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, why do you think I moved to Europe? Yeah, it was the internet, right, Ark? Yeah, you just needed better internet. The Val Indigo, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat, appreciate support. Thank you. Found one incredible boss in Crimson Desert, top 10 of all time, and 5 more awful bosses. Also, we'll be trying the new April Crystalla demo. I don't even know what that is. So, probably not. I already have so many things I need to be working on that I don't think I'm going to be able to do any April Crystalla. Oh, man. So, in terms of the vacations, like, I think I sent like 2 pictures onto X. I sent like 1 to YouTube. Let me just see if I have those. Oh yeah, I have like all of the pictures here. Like, this is the only thing I sent because it's whatever. So this is me saying goodbye as we were leaving. This was like on Wednesday, I think. I worked out while I was in Brazil. Let me just see this. Jesus! Fucking hell, dude. What the hell? You, Jenny, okay, I need to put you on another 2-month ban. Like, that's crazy. See, you can't just do that. That's too much. Oh my God, you absolutely. Have you been waiting this whole time? Tip of the hat. I really, really appreciate it. Dude, you're absolutely crazy. Thank you so much. That's way too generous. That is way too generous. Thank you. Oh my God. Dude, what the hell? Yeah, I need to put you on another 2-month ban. You're banned from donating for another 2 months now. Like, what the hell? Dude, you can't do it. Oh, man. Like I was saying, I did work out while I was out there. It was not the optimal workout setup, but the thing is, because of how humid and hot it's in Brazil at this time of the year, you sweat way more, like way more. So yeah, I did the Eric's workout while I was out there. Absolutely. I mean, as close as I could get to the workout, I did it. As close as I could get to the workout, I did it. Grind while on band, then drop the ball. Jesus Christ. But yeah, we worked out, and other than that, you know, I did some activities with my son, who also incredibly misbehaved the whole time. Because of course he did, because that's what he does. Like, it's rough, man. It is the whole ADHD thing has been very, very, very rough. And it's been taking one hell of a toll. Like, you shouldn't skip your leg days too much. I didn't skip any leg days. I haven't skipped any leg days. What do you mean, look at those legs? My legs are fine. They're perfectly proportional. But like, yeah, does he actually have ADHD? Yes, it is diagnosed. He has ADHD, and he has whatever version of ADHD that comes with like these completely uncontrollable and violent mood swings that, yeah, even during vacations. To give you guys an idea, the first day we got there, he was so completely overloaded. Not overloaded. Is overloaded the right term? I don't know, dude. But he was just like so overstimulated, probably the right word. He was so completely overstimulated that I had to slap him just to get him in control, which is something I hate doing. I've already told you guys, I don't do any corporal punishments or anything like that, but he was just completely out of control, like to the point of hitting family members, just being completely vocally abusive. It was just like the most unhinged shit, completely out of control shit that I've ever seen. I was like, no. We need to nip this in the bud right now. Otherwise, I'm going to have like the most miserable fucking 2 weeks of him just being out of control the whole time. So yeah, I was like, I shut that shit down. I was like, nah, dude. It's not happening. You're not going to do this. But it was still like, you know, every other day he'd be fine. And then there would be like 2 days where he'd just be the most miserable little shit you can imagine. And it sucks. It takes its toll, and, you know, there's not much else that I can really do about it at this point. So just trying to deal with it, but it's rough. It's been rough. Tokumeijin, we already have him on some medication, but it's mostly like for school and stuff, so he's not meant to be taking that medication during vacation, but we might have to, you know, do something else. I don't know. We're going to look into some more psychiatry shit, which, yeah, it's just frustrating as hell, you know? Oh yeah, I'm very patient, Val Wendigo. I am, like, cause like, for instance, you know how, I remember when I was growing up, I'd come home with like you know, you come home with like a test or something. And if you come home with like a C, my parents would give me shit. They'd be like, the fuck you mean a C? I'm paying for you to go to school, bitch. What do you mean you got a C? You better be getting A's and B's, minimum. What do you mean a C? My kid comes home with a C and I'm like, thank fucking God. Thank fucking God, man. At least it's not a D, you know? It's like... No, but the reality is I just think that school as an institute, the whole education system is just hot garbage. It is. I've been saying it for the longest time. I think that education in general, in Portugal at least, it's just straight up hot garbage. Like, most of the teachers don't want to fucking be there. They're there because they couldn't make it in their fields, and therefore they ended up getting into teaching. It's the old adage of those who can't do teach. And yeah, then they're, if you don't want to be there, you're not going to be able to motivate people to learn. You're not going to be able to motivate children. And that's like the majority of teachers in Portugal. It is what it is. No, but like back in my day, I would come home and with a C, my parents would kick my ass. He comes home with a C, I'm like, fine, it's fine. Don't worry about it. School fucking sucks anyways. In France, it's the same. Yeah, I think it's like it's not just a Portugal thing. Is he able to use coping mechanism on his own? No, he just gets completely out of control. Sometimes we would try to get him to do like some breathing shenanigans, but it doesn't seem to work anymore. Where he shows a picture of holding 2 plastic toys and he calls it a workout. This motherfucker! Those were 9 kilos each, which is not much. Usually I do 11. But those were like the heaviest ones that they had over there. So, you know, those were 9 kilos each. So that's like 18 kilos that I'm, you know, still the thing is with the, I'm sorry. It's just like people are messaging me on WhatsApp and it's really distracting. I'm going to turn it off. With because the exercise is called a bench press. The bench pressing that I usually do, here is 50 kilos. C for cool guy. Yeah. One thing's sure, it's impossible for schools to work for everyone, so society needs to address those where schools fail. I don't know. You could be in the States where religion is science. Yeah, I try to do the same thing for my kid. The problem is that he goes the exact opposite way. He doesn't study at all. It's very hard to get him to study, to do anything. But yeah. Most of them want to be there initially, then the lack of support and crappy wages grind them down. Yeah, that might also be the case. So, the plans for the next couple of days, by the way, for those of you that are curious, is I want to see if I can finish Stories 3. I've done a bit of grinding since I've been back. I haven't been able to do live streams because what happened was I got back. The day that I got back, I was just like completely out of it because the flyback was fucking miserable. It was so bad. It was just like, imagine 8 straight hours of turbulence. Which I guess for a lot of people, that's not really a big deal. But when you've been through the situation I've been in where the plane was struck by lightning and it dropped like a motherfucker and it was scary as shit, I think that shit just scarred me for life. And so because of that, whenever there's a little bit of turbulence, I'm like, I'm fine. Turbulence gets a little bit more violent, I'm still fine. But if it stays like violent turbulence for more than like, I don't know, 5 minutes, that's when I'm like, okay, get me out of this fucking plane, bro. Give me a fucking parachute. I'm jumping out of this bitch. I don't want to be here anymore. But, yeah, so the flyback was miserable. So when I got here on Thursday, Yonko Kills, thank you very much for the souls, tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. Aloha, brother. But as I was saying, since the fly-in was miserable, I got here on Thursday. On Thursday, I was just like way too zonked out to be able to do anything. Then Friday, I kept constantly getting interrupted. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do a stream on Friday. 100%. We're going to do this. Let's go. Let's get ready. And then the wife is like, actually, I have to go leave, do this. And then I have to go leave, do that. And then my kids were coming. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be interrupted all the time. I'm not going to be able to do anything today either. Then on Saturday, I started feeling a little bit sick in the morning. Then I go in and I do my kill team game because I had to do still a league game. I crushed my adversary. It was like 24 or whatever it was, the score. And immediately after I did that game, I was like, I really don't feel so good. As a matter of fact, I feel really bad. I go to the bathroom, puke. Like, we're still like in the store. They have like a bathroom for the play area. And I just go in there and I puke and I was like, oh man, I feel like shit. And then the 2 friends that I had gone with, because my car's getting fixed, so I caught a ride with 2 friends. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to go have lunch. And I was like, oh fuck. So I'm sitting there seeing these guys eat burgers and shit, and I'm just like dying inside. I'm like, oh I feel so bad. I just want to go home. Please just take me home. And I got home and I just laid in bed like all day. I didn't do anything. Then Sunday also laid in bed most of the day. It's been friggin' miserable. Victor, thank you very much for being gross incandescent. There's a long beard, you Giga Chad. Tip of the hat, appreciate the support. Thank you. Bro, the one plane ride I had went through a hurricane. I'm terrified of flying now. Yeah, it happens. But yeah, dude, that's been my day since I've been back. But today I was like, I don't care. We're doing stuff today, 100%. Boom. When are you visiting the U.S.? I don't know when I'm gonna go to the U.S. next. Cause like, I don't know what I would even go to do in the U.S. Unless there's like some type of gaming event that I get invited to. I don't know, man. I'd love to go there to like visit friends. Like I'd love to go visit Hengist, Pallytime, Side Strafe. But the thing is, the U.S. is so big. I can't just go to the U.S. like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go visit all these friends. No, because they're all like fucking really far apart. Like I want to go visit Cowboy. He's like way out there from all of my other friends. It's like, what the fuck? U.S. is not fond of foreigners at the moment, especially from Europe. I've never been mistreated while in the U.S. It's never happened. So, my experience, I can't really complain. Maybe this would be the time, but all I can say is every time I've been in the U.S. and this is like one of them. First, it wasn't the first time that I went to the U.S. because I went to the U.S. when I was much younger with my parents. But like the first time I went to the U.S. as an adult by myself was like 2013. And that was the whole thing about like how Americans, they're just like dumb and whatever. You know, that whole idea that people overgeneralized in the U.S. I think they still do. And it's like everybody that I met, nothing like that at all. Like completely no stereotypes, none of that. Everybody was super chill, super fun to hang out with, learned fuckloads while I was out there. So I don't think I would have problems going to the U.S., but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Climate in the U.S. is very tense in certain areas. It's like, usually, I just try to avoid like all of this stuff that doesn't concern me. I'm not going to go in there and start judging people. So it's like, it's whatever. But yeah, the plan, like I said, for the rest of this week is going to be finishing Stories 3. I don't know how we're going to be doing Crimson Desert, considering that this week we're also getting Pragmata. And I'm doing a tournament on Saturday. I really need to get the channel started for the Kill Team stuff, because I really want to talk more about Kill Team on this other channel that I'm going to work on. But yeah, we're doing a tournament on Saturday, and I'm going to be taking my salvagers out there to see if we can bring a win for the team. We'll see how that works. Sad thing, we can't say please come to Brazil to Huri anymore. Yeah, you can. I love Brazil. Brazil's really cool. Yes, Dad Watch. Jenny's excited about Dad Watch, dude. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some podcasts out there as well with some players that are way, way more skilled than I am. We're also working on a new logo for that watch, since the other logo, like if you look at the logo, let me see here. I can show you guys. What the hell? Can we find this? Bro, my voice is not used to talking so much anymore because I I avoided talking as much as possible while I was out there in Brazil. Like, if you guys notice in this one, the logo is basically, it's Space Marine. So it's like, naturally, I can't have this logo because friggin' Games Workshop's gonna be like, wait, your logo's a what now? Your logo's a what? A Space Marine? Sir, you can't do that. What do you mean? Oh man. But yeah, guys, I don't think that you this is one of the things that we have on the internet. Like I saw people saying that you shouldn't, you know, when we were talking about now you shouldn't visit the US. Like, guys, don't overgeneralize. That's one of the biggest issues that we have on the internet, is that people just overgeneralize everything. Like, just because certain politic bullshit is happening in a country, the people that are in that country are still the same people. You know? It is what it is. Let's just put it like this. If I had a reason to visit the US and I wanted to, I would. I would go out there and I would visit 100%. I mean, if you're going to tell me that, like, no, actually it's an active war zone, then I'd be like, okay, maybe I won't visit right now. You know, it's like, maybe not right now, you know, 'cause if their airports are getting bombed and shit, maybe not visit that place this exact moment. But other than that, yeah, absolutely. Games Workshop be like, did I just catch you having fun? True. Mentioned it earlier, there's a new Warhammer themed Vampire Survivors coming out. I saw that. We saw that a while back. As a matter of fact, that's one of the first topics. I mean, not that game specifically, but it is part of one of the first topics that I was going to bring up, which is the Triple I initiative was something that happened while I was away. At least I think it happened while I was away. Or it was the day before no, it happened while I was away. No, actually it happened, was I already here on the 9th? I think I was here on the 10th. So no, it happened while I was traveling here. That's when it happened. But, which one of these games was the most interesting to you guys if you ended up watching it? Because, like, to me, Alcahest looked interesting. Obviously, Valor Mortis I'm interested in. So it's like Alcahest, Valor Mortis. Windrose looks really good. I think Windrose comes out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I get to play this trailer, at least not with sound on. We can play the trailer, but we can't have sound on because it's got like music, licensed music. Then there's like, was there anything else? There's the Warhammer Survivors game that you guys were talking about, which supposedly also includes Age of Sigmar, which is the fantasy battles portion of it. So this one's also interesting. This one, Alcahest and Windrose, I think, are like the big ones. Castlevania. I'm not too deeply into 2D Castlevania adventures, but I'm sure it's going to be fantastic because Castlevania is always pretty good as far as I'm aware. Roar DLC. What the hell is Roar? ROR? What's ROR? Did you see the Mortal Shell 2 news? No, I didn't. Is there anything new about Mortal Shell 2? Oh, Risk of Rain, okay. Was that announced during this thing? Because it's not even featured here. Oh, here it is. Risk of Rain 2, Hollowed Concepts. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about with the trailer. Like, this is the Windrose one. I think Windrose looks interesting, but I don't know if I have it in me to play a survival game at this point. If I wanted to do a survival game, I'd probably want to do Enshrouded. Because Enshrouded, I really, really like when we played it. Was that last year or was it the year before? I forget. What do you think of the new Legacy of Kain game? There's a new Legacy of Kain game? I've heard about the Kazan team. We're going to be talking about that. Yeah, this is Windrose. It's going to be a survival game with pirate shenanigans. Looks like some physics stuff going on. They say Souls-like combat. They did the boat game better than Ubisoft, and it didn't even need to be, you know, at least I don't think that this is always online. I could be wrong. But I would imagine that this is going to be server-based, and they're probably going to let you make your own servers. That's what I would usually expect, because that's what Enshrouded did. That's what Palworld did. I'd expect that to be pretty standard in these types of games. There is a new Legacy of... I wasn't even aware there was a new Legacy of Kain game. Legacy of Kain Ascendance. This was in February? What is this? Did I see this even? I don't even know if I saw it.
The moment his wings were revealed, Nosgoth trembled.
Two D pixel art.
Save Victus!
You have done well, Rurikhan.
You must save yourself.
I have come seeking a favor.
Ascendance isn't granted. It is earned.
I don't know. Doesn't remind me of the original ones, that's for sure. I mean, sure, you can recognize Kain in there and stuff, but I don't know. I think those games have a cult following. Like, I really like the original Soul Reaver games and all of that stuff, but I don't know. I feel like they'd never figured out how to follow up on what they did, which is sad. Does this have licensed music? Hopefully not. I've never even played Risk of Rain. Always heard good things. I know Pallytime was really into it. Hallowed is the balance of death. Hallowed concepts. This one looked interesting, though. I don't know if you guys have seen this one, Alchemist. This one looked very interesting. I usually don't do first-person melee. This one looked cool. Boosh! That's the whole thing about this game, is using physics to kind of like kill mobs. layoffs, which is something I vibe with quite a bit. You guys remember playing Half-Life 2 and by a certain part of the game you're just using the gravity gun to kill everything? Is it VR? It looks VR. No, it's not VR. I think it's just the way that the camera is moving. They might have exaggerated the camera movements or something. Or maybe it moves like that in the game. I don't know. Hello. There's also another one. I like how he just picks up the head. All the games going for realistic graphics. I don't think this looks particularly realistic, but it does. Is this Unreal? I don't know if it's been confirmed. I wonder what the engine is actually. They say that. Let's see. Alcahest engine. Unity. Interesting. Unity. Can't be much worse than I mean, it isn't worse. It's better than Unreal Engine 5, so there's that to look forward to. Hey, Silver BLD, what's up? Let me just see some here. What's this? Oops. Koshmar, the Last Reverie. Pause this here. So you talk about gaming engines a lot. What are the good ones and the bad ones? Can you explain it? It's mostly because a lot of studios have gone to using Unreal Engine 5. And Unreal Engine 5 isn't even like... I hesitate to say it's not a bad engine. The problem, at least what I keep hearing from developers, like Unreal Engine 5 is actually really good. Most people just don't know how to make proper use of it. But that is a problem in and of itself. That's the reason why we talk about game engines, because a lot of the times it's like everything's Unreal Engine 5. And when everything's Unreal Engine 5, games end up looking the same. So it's not like I'm talking about engines like, oh, this is a bad engine, this is a good engine. It's more like, this is not Unreal Engine 5, thank God. It's more like that. Yeah, the Unity CEO kind of messed with the Unity licensing system, but I think they've walked that back since, if I'm not mistaken. Morbid Metal. See, Morbid Metal I'm super hesitant to touch on because of the fact that it's associated with Ubisoft. And to me, it's like, this is the wrong attitude to have. I'm aware of it. But anything that is associated with Ubisoft, I'm just like, I don't like your company, man. I don't like them.
Waking life is a fragile balance. The light burns, the darkness drowns. You keep to the narrow road between. But what if power in hope, power in rage, power beyond your dreams and fears? It was always there, buried in your shadow.
Are they doing some type of stop motion?
When nightmares reign and the world chokes in its sleep, this power corrupts, consumes, contorts. Embrace it, wield it, or fight it. May you wake to find your choice was wise.
Doesn't really seem like my kind of vibe, Victor. The art style looks really interesting, though.
When nightmares reign and the world chokes in its...
I like the art style, but the gameplay doesn't really seem like super appealing to me at this point. That was Alcahest. What was the other one in here that I wanted to... So we did Windrose Roar, Alcahest. Oh yeah, Warhammer. The Warhammer game, of course.
Wait, lads, listen up! We's calling a war! The homies have smashed their way onto our turf. It looks like they brought some proper snazzy kits to the fight. Some fight proper
The
sneaky.
Legend of Catachan.
The big boss of the Blue Kits is here with his
Marnius
claws.
Caligon.
But that's nothing on our power claws. Boy, look at this one.
Why are there no Votan, man? There's a fucking tank. There's an Imperial tank. There's an Imperial tank, and we can't have a fucking Votan, dude.
He thinks he's dead hard in his battle wagon. But wait till the boys crack him open. Oh look, it's old Baylai. But ain't nobody meaner than orcs. Nah, not them. Yeah, him. The biggest, meanest, Gazgul Magorok Thracker. Prophet of Gork and Mork. Wah! Let's have it.
Bang. We're kind of heard that Ubisoft's getting sued in France. Yeah, we have a Belilard video we're going to be checking out in regards to that soon. But yeah, that'll be something to check out. But yeah, this was the III Initiative shenanigans. Lots of stuff getting announced there. I also have two things that I'm working on that I can't even talk about because they're still kind of like embargoed and stuff. But I have two things. Both of them are going to be like closer to the end of the month, but I have two things that I'm also working on top of like, you know, Pragmata, Stories 3, Crimson Desert. There's like two more things that I'm going to be working on. Did you hear we got more lore in Baylai Eric? Nope. I don't follow a lot of the lore stuff. Really should play Vampire Survivors at least once. I've played some Survivor type games. I haven't played Vampire Survivors itself, but I've played others. I like them. Like I think the one that we played the most was the one that looked like Diablo. What was the name of that one? I was so addicted to it. I remember at one point I was playing it before stream and I got distracted. And then Dave gave me a hard time over it. He's like, fucking addicted. Halls of Torment, that's the one. We played the crap out of that one. That one was so good. I played the guy with a flamethrower or whatever. Megabonk felt very zoomy to me. That's why I liked Halls of Torment. Halls of Torment was just right. Yeah, Godot, I wouldn't expect it to be a very powerful engine, but they did a really good job with that one. Yeah, Arsene, that's the problem with early access games, though. They all get, like, amazing stuff. Like, for instance, another early access game that I can't wait to jump back into is No Rest for the Wicked. Excuse me. Sorry, I still haven't fully recovered from the Saturday shenanigans, so I'm still feeling kind of sick. But, like, No Rest for the Wicked is one that I also really want to play, and I kind of want to cover every update, but at the same time, it's like, I want to play the game when it counts. I want to play it in 1.0, so when 1.0 comes out, I'm going to no-life the crap out of that game. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, Dave. I'm waiting for 1.0 on No Rest for the Wicked, and then I'm going to play the crap out of it. Hopefully it doesn't release on top of anything that's big for me, so that I can really just dedicate some time to it. PoE 2 is another one. Yep, PoE 2 I also want to devote a lot of time into. But the thing is also, every new update to PoE 2 seems to drop at the same time that I'm covering something else. So it makes it really, really hard, because I'm like, well, I want to do this league, but at the same time, I need to play this video game. Kids, man. Kids, they take all my time away. You know? It is what it is. No Rest for the Wicked, still in early access? Yep, it is still in early access. I don't hate early access, but yeah, Diablo 4 new expansion, not playing it all. I'm not touching Diablo 4 after what Blizzard did to me. Don't you remember, Eugenia? I talk about this all the time. The whole thing about how, you know, they did the dark pattern thing, and then, you know, because of the dark pattern thing, it claimed my season pass. And the developers themselves came to my thread and they said, yeah, this shouldn't have worked like that. But they never gave anybody season pass tokens. And I'm like, well, okay, if you're gonna just straight up steal from me, acknowledge that it shouldn't have worked like that, and then not fix it. Yeah, that's crazy. Given all the games announced for 2026 with no date for release from September to December, it's going to be packed. Yep. It's going to be packed the whole year. It still is packed. You need to get your kids working for their room and board. Maybe my son. My daughter is doing fine, okay? My daughter is doing fantastic. She's doing gangbusters. She's the nicest daughter a father could ask for. She's the best. Makes me drawings all the time, too. Have like a whole drawer full of drawings from my daughter. Feel like the dev team's been changed a lot and the game is improving. The game might be improving, but I just think that the culture at Blizzard is just rotten. Did you guys hear the story of... Oh, dude, I never made a video on this. Did you guys not hear the story on Jeff Kaplan? I'm bring that up. Dude, this was a while ago. This was a while ago.
It felt surreal to be in that condition. And
so yeah, so now
I watched this whole thing. This is like 5 hours. I mean, I listened to the whole thing. I didn't actively watch it. Nobody actively watches 5 hours of content, okay? People listen to it while they're doing something else. I listened to this and it really annoyed me. So before we get to, we're just going to listen to the part on why he left. There's a lot of really, really interesting stuff here, though, so I would really recommend you guys check out. This is from the Lex Friedman podcast, right? I'm going to link it. There's going to be links and description, all of that usual shenanigans. But like this was very interesting to me because I've mentioned this a couple of times, so I don't know how many people are aware of it or not. I did get to meet Jeff Kaplan. Okay, back when I was working with TGN and Squadron, we were doing a lot of coverage of Heroes of the Storm, and with that, we also started doing a lot of coverage of Overwatch. As a matter of fact, if you guys remember, the TGN channel for a while was exclusively an Overwatch channel. So when Blizzard came to Gamescom Europe, there was a year they came to the Gamescom. I mean, they always come to Gamescom. Now they're on the Xbox booth, I would imagine, whatever. But back in the day, before they had been acquired by Microsoft, they had like the Blizzard booth, which I was familiar with because I had attended Gamescom a couple of times. And so because TGN Squadron was doing all this work with Blizzard, they're like, oh, you can do an interview with Jeff Kaplan. And I was like, oh, that's going to be good. It's going to be gangbusters. Going to go do that interview. Now, it was an audio-only interview, and then we ended up making videos of it. I was still kind of, not particularly good at doing the whole interview thing. But it was an interview with me, and there was like one or two more outlets that were, so it's like it's a multiple outlet interview, so several people interviewing Jeff Kaplan. And it was funny because I get there and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Rurikhan. I'm not a Rurikhan. and that's my actual name, right? I'm Ruri. I'm with the Squadron. He's like, oh, Squadron, yeah, you guys cover Heroes of the Storm. Really like the work that you guys are doing, because we had worked with Blizzard. Like there was actually a video that I edited. Me and Hengus, we put that video together. That video was on the official Blizzard launcher for a while, which was really, really cool. Like one video that I worked in was in the official Blizzard launcher. I was so proud of that. It was a Heroes of the Storm video that we did, because we were like one of the biggest groups that was making videos for Heroes of the Storm at the time. And basically I go in there, Jeff Kaplan, super nice guy, super passionate guy, made sure that we had all the questions that we needed. We went overtime on the interview, and we have the PR people like breathing down our necks and shit, and Jeff's like, no, chill, it's fine, we have time. So Jeff is just like this really passionate guy about his game. Okay, just like straight up, that's all it's about. We I think that Hengist and Pallytime got to interview him again at BlizzCon later in another year, also about Overwatch. But basically we got to meet Jeff Kaplan and kind of like understand how he works. And there was another person that also met Jeff Kaplan. This one is even more interesting. That he has a story on his channel. I don't know if you guys know Stylosa, but Stylosa wanted to talk with Jeff Kaplan about Overwatch, because for a while Stylosa also only did Overwatch in his channel. And I remember him talking about this in a video. And what happened was Blizzard PR was actually making it harder for these two people to meet, which is just so fucking weird. It got to a point where they just met up at like a coffee to have a drink or something. And that's when they got to talk with one another, because they couldn't fucking get the bureaucracy of Blizzard to like work to get two people that wanted to get together and meet and talk. They couldn't get that shit to work. But Stylosa also, exact same opinion. Is like Jeff Kaplan, just a guy who's super passionate about his video game. Right? That's just it. And so here's the reason why Jeff Kaplan left Blizzard.
So now there's this wave in the live game and events, but the pressure on creating Overwatch 2 was building.
Yeah, we had a coalition on the team that was really wanted Overwatch 2 built instead of the live events, and then the executive pressure became monumental. And what would have been correct was to do...
This, by the way, was a mistake. Like, making Overwatch 2, whenever they announced Overwatch 2, I was like, why? This is like the dumbest thing. It's so weird. Why would you make Overwatch 2? Overwatch 1 is clearly going to be a live service thing. It's always online. You're doing seasonal events. You're doing all of that. You need to keep supporting Overwatch 1. Breaking the player base into a different video game makes no sense. It just makes no sense. But yeah.
And what would have been correct was to do more world events, like keep it
Yes.
going. But the major derail was Overwatch League. And we really like the weirdest part about Overwatch League is I believe in it. You know, I helped pitch it along with some other people. We thought it was like the future of esports and doing regional based team.
Overwatch League was massive. To give you guys an idea, in one of the years that I got to go to BlizzCon, I think they already had like a part of BlizzCon dedicated to the Overwatch League. And it was probably one of the biggest sections of the entire con was just dedicated to Overwatch. It was fucking huge. I was super surprised. By contrast, to give you an idea, StarCraft 2, which had been like, you know, when it launched, it was the biggest thing in esports. If you guys remember, StarCraft 2 was like huge when it came to esports. And it was tiny. The StarCraft 2 section was tiny. It was like a little walled off area. One of the main developers of StarCraft 2, one of the main developers of StarCraft 2 was actually helping people get seated to play the game at the venue, which was just so weird. But yeah.
Ensuring minimum player salaries and player protections. Like there was a lot of very good about Overwatch League.
And there'd be teams associated with particular cities. And it'd be
Yes.
international, it'd be real competition. So the dream, the ambition was really huge there.
Yeah, the teams part of the dream was more of like regional based player protection, try to make esports more of a first class citizen. Because there were all these stories about like shady teams, you know, screwing their players over. Where it got away from us was there was a lot of excitement about Overwatch League, like too much so, and then it got over marketed to the people buying the teams.
Isn't this just something that happens with every video game nowadays? They get over marketed for the sake of the investors.
Over marketed to the people buying the teams. They went on this road show where they had a deck basically, and like you can put anything in a deck and sell anything. And they were pretty much selling the Brooklyn Bridge that Overwatch League was going to be more popular than the NFL.
That's not unrealistic at all. Like, I just imagine the hubris that it takes for somebody to just be like, yeah, man, I'm making this thing. It's going to be more popular than NFL. I mean, it's all fine and dandy to think that's going to be the case, to believe that's going to be the case, to motivate your team that's going to be the case. But to sell it as if that's going to be the case, now that, oof.
That Overwatch League was going to be more popular than the NFL. And we got a bunch of billionaire investors in these teams.
Billionaire investors. It's like what Jeff Kaplan is talking about here can be expanded to so many other video games on the market at this point. Why do you think the budgeting has ballooned to the extent that it has? Because the marketing people that have no fucking idea how almost anything works in video games, these marketing people are like, my job's to sell, baby. I'm going to get us so much money. They're like, guys, I got us a $300 million budget. And the guy's going to be like, we didn't need $300 million. It's fine. Now we just need to make this much more in revenue. They're like, but we have a niche game. It's like, going to have to change it, bitch. Not going to be niche anymore. Better appeal to the widest possible audience because you need to make as much money as possible. Absolutely. Marketing people mislead investors all the time. And sometimes investors are also just some greedy fucks. They just want more and more and more. They don't actually believe in the product they're investing in. They just want the money back, which, you know what? Fair game. But it's just like oversell these games. And then there's a huge issue because the budgets balloon. And all of a sudden you have way more money and you have to like figure out where to allot that money to try and make as much money back as possible. And then it just doesn't happen.
Brother.
No. Getnet, thank you very much, Being Gross and Guest for 67 months. Tip of the hat, appreciate support. Thank you. 100% of the time, yeah. Line needs to go up.
Billionaire investors in these teams. And when 2018 started, like, for example, the day I got back, they said we signed this huge deal with Twitch for streaming of Overwatch League, like a media rights deal. And that means that here's all these commitments we made for Overwatch League of like in-game stuff that had to exist. Like a lot of it was integration with Twitch and camera control and that kind of stuff. The other part of it was a bunch of skins and, uniforms for all the teams.
I just want you to realize that right now, the person talking about this is Jeff Kaplan, the game director of Overwatch, and he is being told after the fact that this deal had been made, which, no sound. What do you mean no sound? Everything should be fine, right? There should be sound. Anybody having issues? Blizzard is disrupting the stream? Seriously? Oh, refresh, guys. But anyway, like I was saying, they told Jeff Kaplan after they had made the deal is when they told Jeff Kaplan, oh, by the way, here's everything you have to go do now. Like, if I'm Jeff Kaplan, I'm thinking, did you think of asking me how much this would cost? What my team is doing before you made this supposedly $1 million deal with Twitch? No. Just make it. Just make it happen.
Skins and, uniforms for all the teams, which was not just getting the art in the game, but there was huge technical challenges to like how all that worked and was efficient and hit the right, memory footprint and all of that kind of stuff. And so all of your plans at that point kind of go out the window. Like you're not going to work on new world events. You're not really even focused on Overwatch 2. You're just kind of treading water. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of talk of like, oh God, the deal didn't go well and we've got to do make goods to make the deal better for them. I'm like, just give them some money back, like if the deal isn't what people wanted, like putting it on us, the Overwatch team, to like support this beast.
Yeah.
And it was a great idea that the wrong instincts and sort of, I don't know how to phrase this in a way that's not damning, but there was too much focus on let's make lots of money really fast. And a lot of people got dragged into it. And while Overwatch...
Let's make lots of money really, really fast is just the way that Blizzard works. It's just the way that Blizzard works. Like, this has always been the way that Blizzard works.
If only I could be so grossly incompetent.
We're getting lag again? Fucking really? YouTube, come on. It's my first stream back. There's no dropped frames whatsoever. What the fuck is wrong with you, YouTube? Jesus Christ. It's just the way that Blizzard works. It's just the way that Blizzard works. Like, this has always been the way that Blizzard works.
If only I could be
so strange, because like it's working fine for me. Fucking really? YouTube, come on. It's my first stream back. Might be like a regional thing or something. I don't know what's going on. Cass Rory, thank you very much for being listening to this for 22 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Wonder if YouTube no longer likes the AV1 encoder, because like that's at this point that's the only thing I can think of. Because like there's nothing else that should be causing issues with YouTube. Anyway, we're gonna continue. There's not much else that I can do, guys. If it's being problematic, like please refresh. I don't know what else. Because if it was showing issues on my end, it's one thing, but there's nothing. Anyway, we're gonna be continuing.
And a lot of people got dragged into it. And while Overwatch League was great for Overwatch in terms of the players that it brought in, like, and the Overwatch League players, they were awesome. I love them. The Overwatch League staff at Blizzard, some of the nicest, most motivated, great creative people. Like all of these organizations got built and they were all great, but it was a house of cards waiting to fall.
And it became more about the money versus the quality of the experience of the different teams playing together and actually building this ecosystem of esports.
The financial reality kicked in where these teams, now we didn't just have, executives at Activision and Blizzard who cared about the bottom line of Overwatch. We had all these people who basically invested in the game, and then they started to express their opinions. Originally, the business model was going to be that they were going to do in-person events, and there's going to be big ticket sales and then merch, and all of that. And I think really quickly everybody learned, like, yeah, we can't do in-game events when you have a London team and a Shanghai team, and like, how does this work? So that fell apart super quickly. The merch was good, but it wasn't going to be making NFL level money, whatever insanity anybody thought that was going to be.
Yeah, whoever thought that this was going to make more money than the NFL should get their heads examined.
So everybody quickly defaulted back to, hey, didn't Overwatch make like $500 million just in the live game last year? What can we sell and what can you give us? That pressure comes onto the team. And then the pressure to ship Overwatch 2 and all care and love that we had for like the live game and the live let's just make events and new heroes and new maps. We're losing all these resources. And it got to the point, my exit at Blizzard, I believed in Overwatch 2. I think we could have made a great game. I have a lot of hindsight of like how I would have designed that game differently with what I know now versus what ultimately we didn't ship. And there's Overwatch
2 made absolutely no sense. You should have supported the game that you had. It's because like there wasn't a meaningful graphical leap, which is usually one of the reasons why you end up, making a new game and stuff like that. That's, we got a new engine. There wasn't like a meaningful gameplay change. I think for the beginning, they were like, now it's 5v5 instead of 6v6 or the other way around. Now it's 6v6 instead of 5v5. I forget how much it was for each of the games. But I do remember for a while it was like, now it's 5v5 and it's so much better because it's 5v5. And I'm like, really? We couldn't have done 5v5 on the previous engine? Like, I don't understand why you needed Overwatch 2 for that. For a while, it was the whole PvE thing. See, the PvE thing kind of made sense because it was kind of like, we're going to get all of these PvE missions, so it makes sense. They have to make a new game because there's going to be a lot of content. You got to pay for it. At the same time, you could have just, sold the PvE thing as its own thing, as like a DLC to the original Overwatch as well, and you could have made money that way. So that would have been something. So again, Overwatch 2 just doesn't make a lot of sense when you really think about it. You should have kept supporting Overwatch 1, especially because of the explosive growth that Overwatch 1 had. You can't just expect that to happen on the sequel. It's just not that simple. Look at Call of Duty. Not the next Call of Duty isn't always better than the previous Call of Duty for the people that like, even for the people that like Call of Duty, right? So, especially them being under Activision, they should be aware of that. Like they've struck gold there. They should have kept mining that. It made way more sense. But, you know.
So when you're referring to Overwatch 2 in this conversation, you're referring to the PvE version.
The PvE version.
Which, by the way, I would have loved to play. I'm one of the people that were Overwatch is great, but the PvP. But I would have loved to play the PvE version.
I think everybody would have loved to have played it. And there's a misconception online that all I cared about was PvE and I didn't care about PvP. All of the Overwatch 2 PvP maps were something that I said to the team over and over. We have a PvP audience. If we get anything right, it has to be the PvP. We would be lucky to welcome these PvE players, but that's not guaranteed. So it was never a PvE only focus.
It's just almost expanding it to also the E.
And what eventually broke me was it used to be like in 2016 and 2017, I felt very in control of the Overwatch team and the direction of the game as a game director, you know, working with Ray Gresko as the production director. It felt like we were running Overwatch and we were very, very successful and doing a good job. And I think the fans were happy. And then as we transitioned, you know, Overwatch League was the best intention. You know, my parents always say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That was the Overwatch League, and it ended up being an albatross. And then Overwatch 2 was the same thing. And what it boiled down for me, like what sort of ultimately broke me in my Blizzard career was I got called in the CFO's office and he sits me down and he says, he gives me a date, which at the time was 2020 and was going to slip to 2021, but at the time it was 2020. And he said, Overwatch has to make in 2020. And then every year after that, it needs a recurring revenue. And then he says to me, if it doesn't do dollars, we're going to lay off 1,000 people, and that's going to be on you.
This is potentially one of the worst things that you can do to a creative person. Like, just straight up. You're going to be like, yeah, here's how much your project needs to make. And if it doesn't, I'm going to fire 1,000 people and it's your fault. They're bleeping out the dollar amount because of confidentiality. Jeff shouldn't have mentioned this dollar amount. As a matter of fact, Jeff might get in trouble because technically speaking, Lex Friedman will know what the dollar amount was. But it's absolutely insane. It is just absolutely insane to me. It's like, here's how much money you need to make. Bro, this isn't an exact science when it comes to video games. You can't plan like that. When you plan like that, you end up with video games that are trying to appeal to everyone and appeal to no one. Give me a second, guys. But yeah, you can't just do what these execs expect you to do. It's really fucked up.
We're going to lay off 1,000 people, and that's going to be on you. And that was just the biggest fuck you moment I had in my career. It felt surreal to be in that condition. And as somebody who's worked on a lot of games, made a lot of games, you get in these meetings where they're like, Fortnite has 1,400 people working on it. If you just hire 1,400 people and make it free to play, we'll make that money, right? And
see, this is exactly, this just illustrates so well what is wrong in this industry. Just throw more people at it. It'll fix it. Just put more people in there. Boom, done. It's like, what do you mean, dude? The fuck do you mean? You can't just like replicate Fortnite's success. As a matter of fact, here's an interesting little factoid about Fortnite that a lot of people aren't even aware of. Fortnite didn't start as the Fortnite that you know today. The Fortnite that you know today is Fortnite Battle Royale. Before Fortnite Battle Royale, there was Fortnite Save the World. Fortnite Save the World was the initial design of Fortnite. That's why there's building elements in Fortnite, because you would build these forts, and there was like a horde shooter type of thing where you would build up a fort during the day, and then at night the hordes would come, then you would shoot the hordes down, and then you would rebuild during the day, collect resources, doing all of that. Then the hordes would come again, and that's what Fortnite was. But then PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds came out, and they're like, hey, let's make a Battle Royale mode. We have the engine, we have all that stuff. Boom, done. And they did that. And that's how Fortnite gained its success. Sounds like Night Rain? No, it's not like Night Rain at all. But yeah, even Fortnite wasn't planned. It just happened. The same way that the original Overwatch wasn't planned to be as successful as it was. It just happened. People expect like to be able to predict how to create these viral video games. You can't. You have to, just let the creative people do creative things and come up with their own ideas or be inspired by others. But like, let the creative people do the creative work, and then you get a good video game, rather than just fucking pressing down on them and being like, this needs to make this amount of money. Line must go up. Erpa derpa derpa.
that was, I had believed I would never work anyplace but Blizzard. I loved it. It was a part of who I was. And I felt I was a part of it. And I literally thought I would retire from the place. I never thought the day would come. And that was it. I was like, we're done here. Luckily for Blizzard, that CFO is no longer there.
I mean,
It's fine.
Blizzard
There's plenty of other horrible
is
people
one of
there.
the greatest companies in the history of Earth. They've created so many incredible video games. It's so difficult to create so many hits, and they were done not by chasing money. They're done by small, incredible teams.
Exactly. Like if you think about Diablo 2, that was a much smaller team than what Blizzard has now for Diablo 4, and Diablo 2 is still better than Diablo 4 in a lot of ways. It's just that simple, right? Same thing for the original World of Warcraft. It was a much smaller team than the team that made Shadowlands, but the original World of Warcraft and Burning Crusade, and especially Wrath of the Lich King, way better than Shadowlands, way better than pretty much anything that's come out in that game since. I know that a lot of people are going to talk about how Legion was amazing, and yeah, Legion was pretty good, but like still, it wasn't no Wrath of the Lich King. It's crazy.
The hodgepodge that you describe, taking big risks and falling in love with the thing they do, and then just chasing it, working extremely hard. And just because you figured out a way how to make a lot of money doesn't mean it's not at the core this incredible creative journey that's incredibly difficult to pull off. And just because you got a bunch of really smart creative people who have somehow figured out how to pull it off multiple times in a row doesn't mean you can just treat it like a machine. Every single time, it's this
Exactly.
beautiful journey of a hodgepodge of weirdos working together, and weirdos have to run that thing. If you ever have a chance to create something special, you have to have weirdos at the helm. And at the degree to which you don't have weirdos at the helm, creative minds at the helm, and you're a business person at the helm, get out of their way, right? You cannot have the meetings like you're describing. And I don't just speak about this particular company. It's just the entire industry. I just There's so much joy to be had if we keep creating great games. And I just hope we get to see those great games.
I think there's a message to creative people out there and people who make stuff. We're generally we're so focused on the love of the craft that we get lost in it and we love doing it. Um, and we're not cutthroat and we don't have that kind of ambition. We have a different kind of ambition. But there's this whole world, especially as soon as you're lucky enough to have success, that are very cutthroat and very ambitious. And for whatever reason, we keep giving ourselves to them.
It's so true. It's like ever since video games started going more mainstream, this has become an increasingly pervasive issue in the industry. Because this industry is actually making a lot of money. It's time to invest in this industry. It's time to get our people in there, get our marketing people in there, make sure that we're squeezing as much juice as there is in this thing. And it's like the creative people that are actually making the parts of the games that we care about, most of them are not, profit driven. There are much better industries to make money in than the complete unstable mess that is the gaming industry. There's much better industries for that. But these people are passionate. They want to do it. They want to create this vision that they have for this video game that they want to make, that they think is going to be really fun. And these other people that come in, the people that come in because now it's getting more mainstream and it's making more money, these absolute vultures that are coming in with their marketing tactics and their public relations and the investors and all of this. All of these people, they're just here to squeeze all the creativity out of the video game industry and just get as much money as they can out of it, regardless of whether or not the product is good, which is really, really sad. But yeah, that's the way that it goes.
And we need to stop giving ourselves. World of Warcraft, when we made it, there was no CFO at Blizzard. You don't need a CFO to make World of Warcraft. You need artists, engineers, designers, producers, and an audio team.
You don't need to bring in, just because you're making a lot of money, it doesn't mean you need to now start adulting by bringing in a CFO. You can figure it out.
And there are great finance guys. Like I've worked with finance guys who get it and get out of the way and respect, and they're gamers and they sort of understand. But like, I wish developers would understand their own value more and stop handing the golden goose to people who don't deserve it.
How painful was it to say goodbye?
It broke me. I think after you've been at a place like Blizzard, which I love Blizzard to this day. I have nothing but warm, fond memories. I mean, there's those moments where you're like, I wish that hadn't happened. But on the whole, that place is mecca for game development. And everything I have is due to Blizzard. They provided for me and my family, made me the person I am. So separating from Blizzard was one of the most painful things. And I was very sad when I resigned, and I didn't realize how broken I was until recently, like the mourning, grieving I had gone through of like, I think I'm a little fucked in the head for not being there anymore. How could I give that up? How could I not be there anymore? It was really, really painful. leaving.
Can we just speak to? I don't know. I don't think we can give enough love to Blizzard. It's a legendary company. For me personally, for everybody, for millions of people, created some of the greatest games ever: Warcraft, StarCraft universe, Diablo, WoW, Overwatch. What made it such a legendary game company? Just looking back at the whole of it.
The start is Mike, Alan, and Frank.
Anyway, we've kind of went over most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, this is you guys really should watch this if you haven't already. There's a lot of interesting insight in this podcast, but this is like an old one. I've watched this a while ago. I just never talked about it on because we didn't really do a cons Anvil in a while. But yeah. Let me just get some more water because I ran out of water. What the fuck is he back from his sex change in Thailand? Bro, I was in Brazil. What do you mean Thailand? I was in Brazil. Cowboy getting that other kind of attraction for me. So much for bromance. He's going straight for romance. How you doing, bro? He is looking thinner. No, I'm not. I mean, I might be looking thinner. That's because, like I told you guys, I was pretty sick on Saturday, so that might have thinned me up. That explains the legs. Okay, what the fuck, bro? Okay, y'all need to stop with this legs thing, bro. Like, I have perfectly normal legs. What the fuck? Like, look at this. Bro, what do you expect my legs to look like? I'm not, like, a huge guy. What exactly do you expect my legs to look like? Just today I worked out my legs. What the fuck do you mean? Maybe we do need more leg day? What the fuck? Oh my god. You guys are fucking crazy, dude. No, my legs are fine. I don't have shorts. I don't have any I'm wearing jeans. Otherwise I would flex the leg. Why are you posting pictures of chickens? There is a chicken behind me, though, because the place is called Port Chickens. It's the angle. I don't give a fuck about the angle. I don't do this angle bullshit. Louise, you absolute giga chad. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. And you guys are way too crazy. Way too crazy. Thank you so much, Louise. I appreciate it. Oh, man. He's working out in open-toed shoes. Dude, do you have any idea how hot it is in Brazil? Like, you're sweating after the first 2 reps. And I'm talking like you're sweating buckets after the first 2 reps. That's how humid it is in Brazil. Oh, man. How have you been doing, Luis? I mean, yeah, you should be, but like, for instance, in Portugal, because we have a much more less humid, like a drier climate, I barely even sweat throughout a full workout. Because it's actually like cold right now. Once it gets summertime, then I'll start sweating. As their colonial master, the provincials should be fanning you as you work out. Back pain is common now, bro. I have back pain. Welcome to club. That's how you know you're getting old. That's how you know. It is what it is. Did I visit Knight? Arc Knight doesn't live in Brazil. He was born in Brazil. He lives in the UK. I'm old. We're all getting old, Tilted Glory Gaming. How old are you, bro? Like, we're all old. Turned 42 on the 3rd this month. Oh yeah, I've had some back pain issues when I was when I went into my 40s. Absolutely. Yeah, that's to be expected, Luis. Gonna do an x-ray for my back tomorrow, but you're a little bit older, Pascal. You're about, if I remember correctly, you're about 10 years older than Luis. And yeah, happy late birthday, bro. 35 this year. 35 is not that old yet. I think old, you only really feel old when you hit the big 40. When you hit the 40, that's when you feel like you're getting kind of old. Gonna be 51 in a month. See, I knew it was something around those lines. Oh man, that's crazy. Oh crap, I missed Ketnet's message. Did I enjoy the vacation? It was, let's put it like this. It was, some parts were relaxing. A lot of it was very challenging because of my son. So I got 10 years left. Nice. 10 years left before you become an unk. After that, you just become an unk. 28 and already feel old? No, 28, you're a youngin'. You're a youngin'. You're a little kid. Didn't start to put on weight until 32 years old. It's like I said in that one video, where it's like, if I could go back and give myself, my younger self advice, the biggest advice would be start working out sooner. So it's like, if you guys are still young, work out now. Start getting into the habit of working out now. Otherwise, you're going to get old, and not only are you going to get fat, you're going to be very unhealthy. So I definitely recommend start working out sooner rather than later. Let's legs. Anyway. Okay. So, one of the things that I've been seeing on my timeline while I was on vacation was a lot of Crimson Desert conversations, which is interesting because I feel like ever since Crimson Desert came out, it kind of like dominated gaming discourse. There's a group of people that are very invested in telling you how sloppy it is, which apparently that group of people seemed like they were the majority at the time of the release of the game. They were just like, game slop, game's garbage, game's terrible. How can you play this game? Absolutely unplayable. And then there's the group of people that is like, actually, game's pretty fun. I was in the game that I think the game's actually pretty fun. I enjoy it. I like RKOing people. I like clotheslining people. I think that's pretty fun. But yeah, I was curious to see what has happened throughout the days that I've been away. And I have this video here from Bellular we're going to be checking out. I'm going to be linking it for you guys. Make sure to give it a like. Do the usual shenanigans. And let's see what's happening.
We're in a strange world, and I think Crimson Desert kind of reveals loads of it. Now, I'm going to start us off with a quote, and here it is. You don't want to let people down at launch by making them anticipate something to such a high level, like it is the second coming. Now, Crimson Desert was kind of the second coming to many, and that quote was from that game's head of public relations when he was speaking to IGN just a few weeks before the launch. Do you know what? He was right to be worried. When a dev warns you not to treat their game like the second coming, it's a pretty good indicator that the hype may have just went too far. Not that investors really paid any heed to that. And we'll get to it soon.
Because of course they didn't, because investors never pay any attention to video game discourse. They only pay attention to whatever is reported on the Financial Times.
Because they've looked very silly. But what we saw was insane levels of scale, millions upon millions of views, and players ready for the big new thing. Then the game launched, the bubble burst, and reality happened. This is a game many of us wanted to succeed, and part of that is the story, because seemingly it is one of a studio that decided on the right path. Pearl Abyss, the developers behind Black Desert Online, were actively walking away from their history of big multiplayer games to go and do a gameplay-driven, fantastic-looking action game instead. So obviously people were interested, but then they saw it and it was stunning, which, to be honest, if you'd played the likes of Black Desert, shouldn't really be too surprising. They can...
Now, I definitely remember when I started talking about this game, I think that even in the very first video that I made after I played the game for the first time at Gamescom, I said, this game is not going to be for everyone, but I think that the people that do end up enjoying the experience are absolutely going to love it. There's not going to be an in-between. You're either going to love this game or you're going to absolutely hate it. I think that's kind of like the way that I started looking at things. And it hasn't really changed. I've always felt this way. I've always felt like you're either really going to like it or you're not going to like it. And even when they were showing like the videos and stuff ahead of release, I was like, oh, it's going to have more sandbox elements. Ooh, people that don't like sandbox and expect like the more theme parky thing, they're going to be upset because a lot of people don't actually like sandbox experience. They like to think that they like sandbox experience, but they actually don't.
Do visuals. The initial trailers racked up millions of views, and then the feature previews basically started to blow people's mind. The number of mechanics is honestly unhinged. We've got combo-driven combat, loads of mini-games, town management, vehicles, Zelda-style physics puzzles, and a hell of a lot more. To the point where you do just say, how the hell can any of this be real? And there's clearly demand for a big world with depth. Think about all the pent-up hype for the next big Witcher game. Hell, we even know that Sony wanted to lock this game down as a potential console exclusive. And if it wasn't for Sony having a few foibles, that would almost feel like a Nintendo official seal of approval, like back in the day. Then we even got the promise of no microtransactions. It all kinda looked perfect, and in the wake of Stellar Blade, this was the moment for Korean developers like Pearl Abyss. They were ready to show the world that they could make single-player games.
It's funny though, do you guys remember how Stellar Blade also got a lot of shit? How many of you guys remember how much shit Stellar Blade got back before it released, when people were doing like the whole review shenanigans and whatnot, and everybody was just like, oh, Eve is a terrible character. And I'm like, no, it's not. Eve is extremely over-sexualized. So? Like, how is this any of your business? Like, this is a developer decision. You either like it or you don't. You can say in your review that you don't like it, whatever. That's it. But like, people were trying to make it into this larger-than-life message. It was just so incredibly weird. And it started like this whole fight about like how, oh, certain suits were nerfed, and it's like, the discourse around this game was completely insane.
That stands shoulder to shoulder with the best. And it wasn't just the people who were excited. No, it was the investors. They may just have priced in the expectation of this being the second coming. Just take a look at Pearl Abyss's stock price since Gamescom of last year. It hit a 2-year high whenever the game went gold in January, so expectations were always high. So high that of course the obvious was going to happen. And it wouldn't be modern gaming if people weren't pitted against each other. So, pre-launch and reviews were a little bit of a complex story. Big outlets like IGN, Eurogamer, and quite a few more panned the game, and even the most positive recognized issues of the likes of the control scheme, the chaotic deluge of stuff, because the game was just that packed, and a story that was deeply divisive. And what emerged from all this was a vibe, even from the positive reviews.
And let me just point this out. This is not a very good game for outlets to review. It's too big. And you can't, at least in the original version of the game, you can't just beeline the story, because you need to actually stop and do some side activities to upgrade in order to become powerful enough to actually defeat some of the bosses. So you can't just beeline the main story. And this was a huge problem, because it does happen that some reviewers start to resent, because like, fuck, you mean I can't finish this game in 10 hours and be done? Fucking bullshit. Now I have to dedicate how many days of my week in order to review this damn thing, this fucking behemoth of a game? This is so annoying. It's interesting, but that's kind of like where we've gotten, because the pressure that a lot of reviewers actually receive, because this is something that does happen. Reviewers do receive pressure to release their review on the embargo date. And I think they had like maybe 2 weeks or something like that. I forget exactly how much time they've had to review Crimson Desert, but I imagine it was probably around 2, maybe 3 weeks. And that is not nearly enough time for a person to have a normal life while still trying to review this game. There is no way.
That this game needed more than 8 hours to play before it really clicked. That is a lot to ask. This all led to a number being a little bit low than some people thought. Those people being the investors, because they began to sell off Pearl Abyss stock in droves, crashing the stock price by more than 30%. And the rationale here was absolutely wild. So, according to the Seoul Economic Daily, investors expected a high 80s aggregated score. They didn't see that, so they basically abandoned the game.
Imagine making your financial decisions based on fucking Metacritic, dude. Metacritic! Imagine. You can't make this shit up. You can't. And this is one of the problems of the gaming industry, that we just have this issue when it comes to the financial side of the gaming industry, that most of the people that are responsible for a majority of the money that is being handled in this industry are fucking clueless. They have no idea what the fuck is going on. This is why they do dumb shit like, oh, how big is the Metacritic score? And it's like, you absolute brainlet. I hope a lot of these investors fucking lost money, dude. I hope they lost loads of money. I hope they were forced to buy when the stock was higher. I hope that they lost money. These goddamn brainlets, bro. Jesus.
Game and the company. Now the thing here is, it's not like it was panned. The majority reviews were actually fine. Like, as a whole package, it landed at a high 7 or a low 8 out of 10. That's what's on the aggregation sites like OpenCritic. That's not a bad game. We're in this weird world where people think that 7 out of 10 is somehow awful and mid and slop. No, if you see a 7 out of 10, that may just mean it doesn't have extremely broad appeal. And that maps onto games. And what it means—
And that's a good thing. I'm sorry, I'ma say it. If a game doesn't have broad appeal, that's a good thing. It usually means that it appeals more to the target audience than it does to the people who are not the target audience. Not every game needs to have broad appeal. As a matter of fact, not every game should have broad appeal. God damn, dude. It's like, our review scores just, I mean, they've always been this. Like, I'm saying this question, but it's just like to make a point. Our review score is just a fucking popularity contest. Is that where we're at? But they've always been that. Let's just be honest. It's always been that. How popular is the game? Must have a high review score. Rurikhan the gatekeeper. Yeah, fuck it. Let's gatekeep it. I don't give a
is
fuck.
that if we want to actually support the types of games that we like, we need to be willing to try out 7 out of 10s that may just happen to appeal to us more than to other people. So, it's a weird game, and most of the people who thought Crimson Desert was a game where you, quote, consume content, didn't actually review the...
I talked about this. I talked specifically about this. Jason Schreier does amazing investigative reporting when it comes to reporting on some of the dirt that some of these companies do. But when it comes to reviewing video games, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Bro defended the microtransactions in Assassin's Creed's Odyssey. Opinion rejected. Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. Nah, dude. It is what it is.
Desert was a game where you, quote, consume content, didn't actually review the thing. But we've seen this kind of thing before. That means we know what happens next. And one day after launch, they'd actually sold 2 million copies. But that's what they sold. It's not necessarily sentiment. And as it turns out, the reviews weren't wrong. There was not some huge gulf between game reviewers working for websites and YouTubers and people on Steam. No, what we saw is early Steam reviews landing at 60% positivity. PC players were often furious about the game's performance. There was also performance issues in console. The control scheme seemed absolutely mad to many, and many decisions about gameplay left people confused. As it turns out, almost every reviewer's critique was echoed by players. And all of that was before the whole Gen AI art thing that, well, basically resulted in some assets.
I don't think I agree that every single user review, that the reviews echoed every single thing that the reviewers said.
Slipping through the cracks. So by now, I think we can see how all of the hype and the drama and everything behind this, be it from players, reviewers, or of course the investor bunch, kinda says more about hype cycles and modern social media and that sort of thing than it does about the game itself. The game is just what it is. Maybe a 7.5 out of 10, but absolutely one that you may love. But what's quite clear is it isn't the second coming. It was never going to be the second coming. Its PR team literally told us it wouldn't be that in the weeks coming up to launch, and now we can actually understand why, because we know how this...
Not every game needs to be the second coming. This game might be the second coming for some people, that's for sure. It's definitely a really fun game that I love playing, absolutely. But it's like, does every video game need to be the best thing ever now? Is that what we're doing?
This game was actually made. Pearl Abyss have only made one game before, and that is 2014's MMO Black Desert Online. I played a little bit of it myself. It's an odd game. It's known for having an incredibly impressive character creator, and over its lifetime, it's got 55 million players. Now, when Crimson Desert was first announced in 2019, it was a prequel to Black Desert Online, and it wasn't some single-player prequel to flesh out the world. No,
yeah,
it
it
was
started
an
as an
MMO.
MMO.
That's
Yeah.
what they set out to make. It was them doing what they knew how to do. But then things changed. An interview with IGN revealed that during the 6.5-year development period of this game, a lot of things happened. The team changed engines, they built an entirely new one, and they overhauled the entire game from an MMO into a single-player experience. Of course, much of that MMO DNA seems to have survived into the final game, with a lot of players calling out the quest design and the controls as being MMO holdovers. Of course, that is the type of game that this development studio knows how to make. But there's another wrinkle to this story. Crimson Desert was supposed to launch 3 years ago. Yes, in 2023. Pearl Abyss had actually follow-up games. Plan 8, a Pokemon-like game called Doke V, seemingly meant to launch with Crimson Desert. So we can certainly deduce that development wasn't really easy. Here's where it gets more interesting. In an interview on the Friends Per Second podcast, the voice actor for the lead character, Cliff, described a 5-year recording process. That's certainly a contrast to Charlie Cox's 5-hour recording experience for Expedition 33. So this guy spent 1.5 years recording before...
But Charlie Cox was not the main character of Expedition 33.
finding out that the recordings he was doing was actually just demo work, and then they spent years before release trying to work with the developers to just lock down the story and the characters. And by his account, the main story of the game, as a sort of shattered tribe rebuilding themselves, only came into focus after 2.5 years of development. There was simply so much upheaval that Pearl Abyss couldn't lock down what they actually wanted from the story, which makes sense. You've got changing genre, you've got going from multiplayer MMO to single player, even changing engine, so of course that kind of thing would have taken a while. And even after launch, Pearl Abyss's CEO suggested that they'd done what they could with the time they had left for the story, but that he sympathizes with disappointment from players. Now, everything I've talked about so far is verified, right? But what's interesting is it lends credence to things that we cannot yet verify, which is because they come from unverified accounts on Blind. You may not have heard about Blind, but it's an industry-exclusive forum that lets verified game developers vent about their problems. Obviously then, there is a bit of a sampling bias here. The people who come to this forum will have, self-selected themselves towards that forum. It's not like you're going to have as many of the happier stories of development. But what we do have is 2 unnamed developers describing Crimson Desert's development as chaotic. They had consistently changing leadership, magpie-like tendencies for grabbing features from other games, one of those apparently being the Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the
Floating
Kingdom,
Islands,
yeah, absolutely.
and an inability to agree on a direction for the game, which resulted in the big chaotic hodgepodge that people ended up getting. Even just going by what we know to be true, the 6+ years of development, the focus and hyper-fidelity, and just the chaos of a game that took over 6 years to come together, yeah, Crimson Desert could never be the future of gaming that some people, and maybe a few investors, had built it up to be. But there's a reason why we're doing this video after the fact, because launch was not the end of the story for this game. Because even as it's not an MMO, players are still playing it like one, and Pearl Abyss are actually updating it like it is a live game. So during launch week, Crimson Desert was the 6th most played game in Steam, and it was in the top 30 over on the consoles, which is entirely respectable for a new game like this. Sales have now topped 4 million, which is quite good, but most importantly, Pearl Abyss have been working hard, actually. They've been patching the game every
they've been putting out a lot of patches.
few days. 4 days after launch, they had fixed the control bindings and storage problems. 3 days after that, they'd improved onboarding for their mechanics, they'd solved a bunch of graphical issues, and 3 days after that, they'd actually added in quality of life features to pare down the worst of the MMO grind tendencies that slipped in to the final game. That's quite something. And what it means is that the game reviewers who played and criticized this game before launch, they were basically playing the game that players got on day one. Now, of course, patches like this can fix controls, they can fix performance, but they can't fix some things, like the story being divisive, or just the design philosophy of the kitchen sink, throwing everything in there they could. It's structural stuff, it's not bugs. But for the people who stuck around, that kind of thing was never the problem. Because it turns out they wanted a massive sandbox, the endless progression, and a game you could buy once and play for months upon months upon months. And what we now see is that
a game to consume content.
even in an era of supposed open world fatigue, there is actually an appetite for this kind of game. That's because all the while user sentiment has been growing. The people who bounced off the game, maybe even refunded it. And now we see that the audience who have stayed with it, number one, has actually grown, and number two, seems to be enamored. The user reviews in Steam are now at 85% positive, and the vast majority of those are coming from people who have invested
I'm gonna say it. You know how he said that at the beginning there were a lot of people who were reviewing the game and saying like, "Oh, game's bad." There's a lot of people nowadays that want to play a video game for the minimum amount of time possible, just so that they can participate in the social discussion of the video game. Like, they don't actually care about the game itself. They care about being able to talk to their friends about the game and being able to interact with other people online about the game and being able to have their take, so to speak. And because they jumped in there like, game bad, fuck this, don't want to play it, it sucks, everybody was right, let's go. They got their take and they were done. That was it. And that's why you're now seeing the review scores increasing, because now the game is getting reviewed by people that actually wanted to play the game to enjoy the video game. Like it is what it is. This is 100, like this game is one of the best examples of that. Like I told you guys, when Crimson Desert came out, it absolutely, it still dominates the discourse. Crimson Desert came out, absolutely dominates the discourse, gaming discourse everywhere. So even the people that were never passionate about it, never cared about it, felt the need to buy it and play it if they couldn't get their hands on a review copy. They played it for 2 hours and they were like, it's exactly what I thought. I don't like it. Therefore, game bad. And boom, there it goes. That's it. That's it. Like Eugenia is saying, people want to clear a game. They don't want to play it. That's exactly it. So many people just want to clear a video game. They don't actually want to play a video game. They want to clear it. They want to finish the game to say, oh, I finished the game. And here's what I thought about it. Boom. And if they can't do it, for whatever reason, either they got bored, they don't like it, whatever. Bad game. This is 100%. The original reviews were right, though. They patched the game, fixing the issues in reviews, not people, y'all, because they want to review it since updates. No. Some of the stuff said in the reviews were right. Not everything said in the reviews were right. And a lot of the reasons why the game got a lot of negativity at the beginning is because a lot of people just want to jump in, get their take, boom, done. That's my thought. Now, it is important to always give feedback. Absolutely. Like I said, the controls thing, I've been giving that feedback since the first time I played the game. I said the controls are not right. Played it twice, went in there again, controls are not right. This is a problem. They need to change these controls 100%. And I was so like, you get used to it. And it's like, yeah, sure. They're still not good. And they're still not good. They haven't fixed that part. Like they allowed rebind everything on mouse and keyboard and all of that stuff, but the controls are still not good. The controls are still an issue. The story, I don't know. I haven't played enough of the story to really, I find it funny. I've played like 40 hours of the game. I haven't played enough of the story because I just get lost in doing the side activities because that's the thing for me. That's what I like about the game, the sandbox aspects, leveling up the Greymane camp, putting stuff into the gun lance that I found. Those are the things that are fun to me. So that's what I'm spending my time doing. And that stuff is extremely fun. Finding random puzzles, figuring those out, getting skill points, doing that stuff, doing the abyss, all of those things are tremendously fun to me. So yeah, absolutely. But I definitely think that the initial reviews are definitely a fact of like the social media necessity that everybody has a need to nowadays to just like, oh, this thing is out, I gotta give my take. Would you prefer the control scheme to be more simplistic and lose a bunch of depth? Absolutely not. The thing is, it can be more simplistic without losing any of the depth. I could probably do like a full-on analysis on how to fix it, the same way that I did that for the insect glaive and was promptly ignored. But it's like, I could give you a better control layout that would not require like 50 different button presses to do one thing. Like, here's a very simplified thing. Oh, how do I pick up this thing using nature's grasp instead of using triangle, circle, mashing X, and then moving the thing and then aiming it with L1. Here's how you can do it. Press whatever is the interact button, whatever's the button to pick up loot. I forget which one it is. I haven't played Crimson Desert in 2 weeks. I'm sorry. But press whatever the button it is to pick up loot, pick up the thing, go to the place, drop the thing. Boom, done. That's simple. Now you can make it do nature's grasp for like picking up trees and slamming people with it. You don't need to do that for the banners. It's like, No, I think, no, Eugenia, I don't agree. I think that the control scheme should be somewhat changed, but I can't tell you exactly what are the changes that I would make right now because I would have to review the whole thing. And it actually takes a lot of effort for me to like review those things to figure out, okay, how would this make more sense and try to like, fix it. And I just feel like that's an exercise in futility. I don't have enough time to play all the games that I want, hang out with my kids, do all of these things, let alone fixing a control scheme for a solution that nobody's ever going to implement.
20 hours or more.
Stock controllers not having forward back bumper is a huge limitation. No. Like, look, if you've played Final Fantasy XIV, you can bind 36 button. Is it 36? I forget if it's 36. It's either 36 or 32 button mappings onto a controller for different abilities. Okay? So trust me, we can fix this. we can have 32 different mappings onto a standard controller, like a standard DualShock 4, like this one. We can do 32 different inputs on this. Easy. So yeah. You can bind 36 skills to cast your wings backwards. Fuck you, Dave. You know the issue with snapback. You know it's a problem, bro. You know.
Majority of those are coming from people who have invested 20 hours or more. And that does expose a phenomenon we see in Steam. Steam score changes are almost more about a game finding its audience. And once a game has found its audience, the Steam score will look really good. And that's hardly surprising, because Steam scores are a simple positive negative, a little bit more similar to a Rotten Tomatoes score. And it's that leads me to what I think is the real point of this video. All the noise, all the anger, all the people fighting other people, I think was ultimately immaterial and a complete goddamn waste of time. Because as it turns out, Crimson Desert is a good game. It's not a great game. It's not made for everyone. It's not a paradigm shift. The type.
See, that's the thing. What exactly is a good game versus a great game? I think this is an important discussion that we do need to have as a community. What is a good game versus a great game? Because for me, Crimson Desert is a great game. Now, for somebody else, it might be a good game. But it's important that people understand that the words good and great, exceptional, excellent are going to vary depending on the person experiencing the video game. Which makes it very hard to just say, no, this video game is excellent. It's not going to be excellent for everybody. I think it can't be great when the controls are fucking incomprehensible. They're not incomprehensible. They're more complex than normal. They're problematic. They could be better, but they're not unplayable.
Say some of the hype demanded, but it's a solid open world sandbox that does give a whole bunch of people exactly what they want. A dynamic sandbox, the type of thing that gives people tools and toys instead of big checklists, allowing them to make their own busted builds and have their own fun. That actually does work. But the real story is the hype cycle itself. A game gets stunning trailers, millions of views, and by launch the discourse is so loaded with noise that the actual product barely gets a fair shake. The disappointment gets completely amplified. The recovery gets...
Disappointment gets amplified. Why? Because that is what the algorithms reward. Social media algorithms reward negativity more than anything else. It really is just that simple. The social media algorithms reward negativity much more than anything else. And that's just the nature of human content consumption. We like... most people like consuming negative content because, to be honest, I don't really consume nearly as much negative content anymore. Most of the times I'm just looking for stuff that I'm interested in, not really necessarily looking out for like, oh, this is the bad thing that's happening. It's like, whatever.
It's ignored because what was it doing? It was feeding a hype cycle that works really well per the metrics, per the algorithms of social media sites, which funnily enough are optimized for engagement. They are not optimized for truth. Very often, only by waiting and trying to have a measured view of the situation do we actually get an approximation of reality. So, it's a good game with 4 million sales and a player base that genuinely loves it. Personally, dear Lord, I don't want to go anywhere near it. I have zero interest in playing this game, but that's totally fine. It was never going to be the second coming. And as it turns out, it did not need to be. We can just enjoy a game for what it is, or not if it doesn't appeal to us. It's that fucking simple. That's it for the video, but you should watch this video next. It is
absolutely true. There's some more stuff about Crimson Desert we're going to be talking about here, but like here's the link to the video. But apparently there's been a blog dev update on April 9th, which was last week, about like what they're going to be working on when it comes to updating the game. Fellow Greymanes, it's hard to believe it's been nearly 3 weeks since we first welcomed you to Pywell. Over that time, we've been closely following your adventures, discussions, and feedback while working to make Crimson Desert an even more enjoyable experience for everyone. We've especially loved seeing the stories you've been creating across Pywell, and yes, including the many adorable cat screenshots. Everybody likes those fat cats, dude. Those cats are overweight, and they're probably going to have health issues, okay? Just pointing that out. And we also want to give a special shout out to those of you earning your Pywell Legend Trophies achievements. Have our sincere admiration watching everyone's journeys unfold since launch has meant a great deal to us. We're truly grateful for your dedication and support. Today we're here to share a preview of some of the new features and content currently in development shaped by your feedback, including a variety of content for those looking for more ways to enjoy the game and those who want to further challenge themselves. Our goal is to roll these updates out gradually from April through June. Preparing new challenges so that you continue testing yourself throughout your journey across Pywell. This is good. The powerful bosses you encountered throughout Crimson Desert are waiting to challenge you once again. With boss rematches, you'll have the opportunity to face off against any boss again, test how much you've grown, and further refine your own combat style through different strategies and approaches. Reblockading. Peace is fleeting, and darkness does not retreat so easily. Enemy remnants are waiting for their chance to reclaim liberated locations, drive out the forces that have seized these locations once more, and continue proving the strength of the Greymane. So this just means that some of the stuff that you've freed before can be retaken, which is interesting. I thought that was going to be the case. I guess I haven't played enough, but I thought that was going to be the case, that they were going to automatically be retaking stuff and we'd have to do it again. Difficulty settings feature will be added so that everyone from new Greymanes to the more advanced can enjoy the adventure at the level that suits them best. You'll be able to choose from easy, normal, and hard difficulty. This one, not as much of a fan, because usually whenever you start messing with difficulty, it's easier to balance one difficulty, but if it's just going to be 3, we'll see how they manage that. But hey, it's better than them just nerfing bosses and you can't experience the bosses the way that they were before. So maybe now, if you go into the hard difficulty, you get the original difficulty that you had on bosses before the nerfs. So that could be good. We're also working on new combat-focused content, so stay tuned. This is interesting. Improvements to character play, new skills for Damien and Unka. We fully understand your feedback about the need for Damien and Unka to have skills comparable to Force Palm and Axiom Force. To address this, both characters will receive new abilities equivalent to those skills. Hide back weapons. New option to hide the weapons on your character's back will be added, so certain equipment worn on your back won't break immersion during combat. Addition of new outfits. New outfits for characters will be added. Additionally, certain outfits that can only be sold or donated will be updated so that it can also be worn. Quality of life improvements and life features. Food storage. Plan to add new food storage. Thank you! From which you can directly take out ingredients for use in cooking. When preparing meals, you'll be able to use ingredients from both your food storage and your inventory. Wardrobe. New wardrobe storage will be added so that you can store your headgear, armor, gloves, footwear, and cloaks. Gatherable storage. New gatherable storage will be added from which you can directly take out items for use in tempering and crafting. Yes, let us put that in our stash. So that, and then when we're crafting, automatically take stuff from our stash. That would be very, very good. This storage will be able to hold a variety of crafting materials, including insects, stones, ores, and more. Collection storage. New collection storage will be added, giving you a place to keep quest items tied to your adventures, along with recipes and other items you've collected on your journey. Also, you know, something that they should do is like, you know, those little leaflets that you get, little pamphlets, like when you get something for, you know, when you're putting somebody in jail or something like that, and you get a little leaflet, and then after you turn them in, the leaflet transforms into a regular leaflet that can be sold for like, you're just like, you know, you finish the quest, just delete that thing from the inventory. Don't make me sell it. I don't even want the money. Just delete it, okay? Just make the money the tax for me deleting it. Give me a feature that just says automatically delete those things that you don't need anymore, because like a lot of them just stay in the inventory. Yeah, bounty notes. A lot of them just stay in the inventory for nothing. They're worthless. So that would be good. More summonable mounts and new pets will be added. Also, in addition to existing horse tack sets, dedicated armor for other mounts is also being planned. System and graphics improvements, UI improvements. To improve legibility, we'll be adding a minimum font size adjustment option since Crimson Desert supports 14 UI languages. Fully optimizing these features across all of them will take some time. Yeah, the UI fonts could sometimes use a little bit of work. We're carefully reviewing your feedback about controls to provide a better gameplay experience. We plan to add customization options for certain controller inputs. We'll also expand the range of configurable keys for keyboard and mouse to improve usability. Improvements to distance scenery quality. We're working on enhancing the realism of distant backgrounds. So you can talk about something I don't need. I think the game looks fucking fantastic. I don't need it to look better at long distance. I think it's good. I think guys nailed that part down. Please note the patch size may be somewhat larger than improvements, how distance scenery changes, and the quality of rendering under different conditions. Take a look at the image below for a preview on how Pywell will look after the update. Those who missed the announcement, will be releasing a Crimson Desert OST. The OST will be available for free on Steam and will also be released on major global music streaming platforms. Stay tuned. Features introduced today are currently in development. Details may change when the update is released. Names as tentative as well. It's pretty good. That is pretty good. So they're still doing a lot of work in the game, which is good to see that they're not, just like abandoning it. Oh, we had a bad review score. They're working on it. And I think there's so much content in this game that it is worth it for them to work on it. I think it's a good thing that they're continuing to work on it. And I hope that they continue to put more effort, because I think that Crimson Desert is absolutely phenomenal. Now, everybody's talking about the story. I haven't seen all the story. That's usually the biggest complaint that people point out nowadays, besides the controls. But it's like, I just think that the rest of the game is just so good. And here's the thing. I don't even dislike the story from what I've experienced so far. The story has been fine. Like, I like the Devil of Reed story. That was really cool. I'm enjoying the expanding the Greymane's story. That's really cool. I've been enjoying the main story even, which is like, oh, we died, but we get sent back to wherever. Now we have to like figure out all of these things that are happening in the world and with the abyss and whatnot. What are people messing with? And then there's like some politics going on. I like that stuff. I don't think the story is bad. I don't know if I'm the only one. Maybe my standards are lower for story and I care more about gameplay, but I think the story that I've experienced so far, I've enjoyed it. So I don't know. I don't know, man. But I like Crimson Desert. I hope that they keep working on it. Sit my ass down. Been standing up for 2 hours. No rock skates. There's no rocket skates. There's no word on whether or not we can do the main story quests when playing as the other characters. Yeah, I see that a lot of you guys agree with me. Good. That means I'm not entirely out of touch just yet. Antonio, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat, appreciate the support. Thank you. Glad you're back. I'm taking a break from medieval themes, so finally gave Granblue Relink a try. What an amazing game. I wish I would have listened to you when it first came out. Bro! Granblue Fantasy Relink is awesome, and we're getting an expansion in July. I'm going to replay the whole game on PC ahead of the expansion, because I want to play the expansion on PC, and yeah, it's really, really fun. For IGN, story is all that matters. I don't know. It is awesome, just not looking to replay and refarm everything. Rurikhan 1 euro per Terminus farm. Which one is the Terminus farm? Is that the final boss? The one that I farmed for you like a million times? The one that I was constantly MVPing, the Bahamut? The one that I was constantly MVPing every attempt, bro? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, man. Wasn't there a weapon? No, I MVP'd a bit, I think. No. It was me. It was me all the time. It was me. It was always me. I played my character so well. I was always the best. Eugen is the best. It's that simple. Eugen wins. We never did that last DLC boss much, though. Bro, that boss was a nightmare. That boss was an absolute nightmare. I'm probably going to be playing Vayne this time around, though, Wada. I don't feel like doing the whole grenade, shoot, grenade, shoot, grenade, shoot. I'm a little bit tired of that playstyle. I love doing it. I still think he's my favorite character, but we're going to Vayne. I'm just going to bash away with my big hammer, kill everything. It's going to be great. Please play Vayne, yes. You want that invulnerability aura. I know you do. I know you want the invulnerability aura, you bastard. Vayne is so good, because with Vayne, we would just be like, okay, what's the most annoying mechanic? This one? Okay, I'll just make us invincible. We're talking about Granblue Fantasy Relink, Cowboy. We farmed the crap out of Granblue Fantasy Relink back in the day, and we have to refarm it on PC. We have to refarm it on PC, because I want to play it on PC, because I remember... As a matter of fact, do you remember how I gave you my PC key? That's so funny. I just got reminded of... So funny. You beat the campaign, that was it. Oh, we'll get you up to date. When we get up to date, we'll get you up to date as well. Because there's so much more grind to do after the campaign, bro. There's tons of grind. So me, Wada, and Dave, we got you covered. So that you're ready for the expansion.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Belfwolf, thank you very much for being Ruskades for 34 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. Yeah, I know. It was... I think I skipped whatever was the other thing that you were working on. Because I just kept playing... Granblue Fantasy because I was hooked. I was big time hooked on Granblue Fantasy. Yeah, dude, it's the same thing with me. Like, I haven't even gotten to play... Listen, I haven't even played Expedition 33. I mean, I played it. I didn't finish it. I never finished Expedition 33. I never even played Death Stranding 2. And I really want to. And I have the game. That's the worst part. I haven't even played it. I literally have the game on PC. PlayStation sent it to me like... right before I went from vacation or something, whenever it released for PC, they sent me the code. I haven't even gotten to play it. Yeah, I know. Have I looked at the numbers for Solasta 2? It's bad. I mean, I've always known that Solasta 2 is going to struggle somewhat because it's going to be compared to Baldur's Gate. So I would expect it to get crapped on. Because everybody's going to be comparing it to Baldur's Gate. Wait, there's no reviews. Wait, but isn't it in early access? probably still in early access. It says mostly positive. What do you mean? It's mostly positive. Unless you mean like concurrent users, which is not a big deal. What about Neva 2? We don't talk about Neva. Okay? That brings out, listen, chat, whenever Neva gets brought up, it brings out the worst side in you guys. So I'm not going to bring it up. By the way, streaming Pragmata. I probably am streaming Pragmata, yes. Because I wasn't around for the last 2 weeks. I'm assuming that was like the review period for that game. Because didn't the embargo just lift? I think the embargo just lifted. Brings out the negativity. Never gonna play it. You never bring it up? Never gonna give you. Damn it. Oh, God. But yeah, I'm probably going to stick to streaming Pragmata since I wasn't around last week. But I'm actually curious about something. How are the Steam charts on Crimson Desert? Damn! 3 weeks out? 3 weeks out, still holding over 100K? It's fucking crazy. It's absolutely insane, dude. Would have not expected that. It is a game to consume content. You mean like every other video game? How's Todfield doing? Oh God, do you really want to go there? I have a bad feeling about Todfield. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. They're doing all right. They're alive. They just got a new patch? Yeah. That's why they're at 18,000. Ooh. Wait, is this D Marathon? No. Is this D Marathon? No shot. Ooh. Ooh. Man, that's fucking rough. A 77,000 peak? A 77,000 peak? Curiously enough, that was the next story that I was going to look at. It's a marathon story. But holy crap. Marathon is a multiplayer game. Yes, it is an extraction shooter. Like, look. I know that there's some people out there that enjoy Marathon. I know it sucks for them. I feel bad for those people, but I do not feel bad for Bungie. Make no mistake. I have literally zero empathy for Bungie. I do not trust those developers. I mean, not the developers themselves. I don't trust the higher-ups in that company. Like, the higher-ups are a cancer that are just holding the developers back, and they just keep fucking it up. Pragmata reviews are looking good. Dancing with a 90 on both Meta and Open Critic at the moment. Holy crap. I'll look into those review scores in a bit. But like I said, we're talking about Marathon here, so let's see what's happening here. Marathon reportedly had a budget of over 200 million. And while the pressure is on Bungie to gain more players, it's not facing an imminent Concord-style shutdown, isn't it? With those numbers, are we sure about that? New report has claimed Marathon's budget is over 200 million, while player numbers have fallen significantly since launch. I'll say. Bungie's extraction shooter is allegedly not facing an imminent shutdown. Forbes reported that Marathon budget is likely more than 250. It's worth noting that the spend allegedly does not include ongoing costs for the live service game, nor the development of post-launch content, which they need to work on a lot of, most likely, because, you know, usually with these types of games, you need to be putting out a lot of post-launch content. Last month, one analyst said Marathon hasn't exactly made the splash Sony and Bungie wanted, estimating sales at around 1.2 million copies. That Alinea Analytics said amounted to gross revenues of around 55 million across PC, via Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. That means there's still $200 million in the hole, and they needed to be making profit by now. Let's not make any mistakes here. On Steam, Marathon hit a peak concurrent player count of 88,337 at launch. That's not what it said. What the hell?
If only I
That's not what it
could be
says.
So grossly incandescent.
There's no way. Ricard, thank you very much for being Risky This for 27 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. Oh, it does say that on SteamDB. Why are the SteamDB numbers different from the Steam chart numbers? That's weird. So 88,000. Okay. But that number has fallen steadily over the past month with the latest 24-hour peak hitting 25,000 players. Of course, Marathon is also out on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, but neither Sony nor Microsoft make player numbers public. Still, PC is clearly the dominant platform for Marathon with an estimated 70% of the sales. So one of you guys was saying that it's not their main platform. According to IGN, it is. Estimated 70% of the sales, so those Steam concurrents gives us a decent idea of how it's tracking. Bungie is under pressure to deliver for Sony after recent and very public financial failings. In November, Sony said Bungie had failed to meet its sales and user engagement expectations, recording a 31.5 billion yen, 204 million impairment charge as a result of Destiny 2's underperformance. That was significant enough to drag down profits at Sony's game and network services segment, which includes Sony Interactive Entertainment. According to Forbes, Bungie developers are working hard on new content. There's no danger of an imminent shutdown. Yeah, that's usually what people say right before there's an imminent shutdown. Like, do you guys remember? Sarah Bond? How she was like, "Oh, we're super pleased. Friggin' Hi-Fi Rush was gangbusters. It was amazing. Everything we wanted. And we're closing that bitch down. We are closing that bitch down." I felt like that was so soon before they said that, "Yeah, we love it. It's amazing. We're shutting it down." It's like, no, dude, no. There's no danger. It's like, what's that one in Chinese? There's no war in Bang Sing Ha, whatever it is. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, there's no danger of an imminent shutdown. After what happened to Sony's own Concord and more recently Highguard, everything surrounding Marathon feels a little on edge. Because it is! We'll probably have to wait for Sony's next set of financial results to find out if it's happy with Marathon's commercial performance. It's not. As for Bungie itself, it may have made a game so hardcore that it is impossible for it to hit the kind of mainstream sales fellow extraction shooter ARC creators enjoyed last year. At least without significant changes or additions, Marathon is a difficult game. If you die, you lose all of your gear. This actually sounds really cool. Actually, the way they're describing it actually sounds really cool. And not just what you looted while out on the battlefield, but what you brought in. And given how easy it is to die in Marathon, it can feel like a brutally punishing video game. Are people bouncing off a Marathon because of this? Yes, everybody is filthy casual. It can feel like a brutally punishing video game for people bouncing off Marathon. Because of this, were some put off by its steep learning curve. Bungie has repeatedly said that while it has a steep learning curve, over time recovering from a bad loss gets easier. But then Marathon's recently launched raid-like experience Cryo Archive doubled down on the ultra-hardcore experience with several requirements you need to meet in order to access it. Former professional Counter-Strike player Shroud has said that while Cryo Archive offers an incredible experience, it's too difficult for casual players. Speaking in a recent stream, the influential gamer said, Cryo Archive is insane. It's the most elaborate extraction shooter map I've ever seen in a game ever. The loop that they made is truly something special. The problem is it too elaborate? Is it too complex? Is it too much of a grind? Is your 9-to-5 grandma and grandpa going to be able to do it? I don't know. Where does Bungie go from here? Marathon is far from a Concord-style live service disaster, but it's clear Bungie needs to do something to increase sales. Simply making Marathon easier may not be enough to do the trick and would run the risk of alienating those who currently love it the way that it is. Making it free to play this soon after launch would just anger those who paid full price. Could a single-player PvE campaign spark renewed interest? Could traditional PvP mode help? And should we be surprised by word of Marathon costing north of $250 million to produce? Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier recently talked about AAA games developed in the US and Canada, where developer salaries are typically higher than that of other parts in the world, costing $300 million or more to produce. Indeed, Concord's initial development deal was around $200 million, according to a report by Kotaku. In 2023, new documents submitted as a part of the Xbox Federal Trade Commission case accidentally revealed Last of Us Part 2 and Horizon Forbidden West each cost more than $200 million to develop. Holy crap. Them budgets, they do be ballooning. But interesting that apparently, according to IGN, the reason that this is problematic is because it's too hardcore. Interesting. Very interesting. Either way, like I said, I just straight up don't trust Bungie with anything. I don't trust them. It is what it is. But yeah, these budgets are crazy, and the amount of money that they need to make because of the ridiculous budget and the amount of money that they're not making and the amount of players that they are losing. It's also a symptom of the fact that there are so many fantastic games out right now. It makes it really, really hard for people to dedicate time to live service games. Like I said, we just had Stories 3, Crimson Desert, Pragmata is coming, which according to Cowboy is getting like gangbuster reviews. You know, there's just so many, and before that there were even more games. Like what else did we play this year? Then we played like Neo 3, and there's more. I had like my list. I had like my list of games that I put out a while back. Where did I put that one? Yeah, like Stories 3, Crimson Desert. There was no wait, this one doesn't have the ones that we've already played. That was Code Vein 2, even though I didn't really play much of that, to be honest. We played enough to just put our impressions out there. But there's Neo 3. I could swear that there was more stuff that happened earlier this year. There was also the Monster Hunter stuff that we covered. But yeah, tons and tons of stuff. I think the problem with these live service games is that they're trying to get the ball and gun gamer popularity, but there's so much extra shit going on in them that they don't appeal to that crowd. By ball and gun gamer, I'm imagining you mean sports and dude bro shooters. Those types of players. Yeah, there's also Resident Evil. Code Vein 2 gives you gun lances who still spurned it. They're not gun lances. They're close to gun lances. But yeah. Call of Duty 2K, GTA's, yeah. Top 10 games of your sports, shoot sports. Yeah. They all have ball or gun. I think that... I don't know. I've never been too into extraction shooters, so I'm just not the target audience. But like, which one's the biggest extraction shooter? Wasn't it Ark? Ark Raiders? Isn't that the biggest extraction shooter right now? Yeah, they're coming into an extraction shooter that peaked out at like 500,000 and released ahead of them. Tarkov? But I think that Tarkov is maybe too hardcore. Yeah. Tarkov is Tarkov is nowhere near as popular as Ark Raiders. Wait, doesn't Tarkov have their own launcher? So basically Ark Raiders is like the League of Legends to Dota 2. Ark Raiders is like the League of Legends to Dota 2, to Tarkov being the Dota 2. Yeah, I seem to remember Tarkov has its own launcher, so we can't actually... This is not an accurate chart for Tarkov. Am I also mistaken? Because, like, again, I don't follow extraction shooters, but didn't the concept of the extraction shooters start with dark zones in The Division? Isn't that where it all started? I kind of feel like that's where it all started. Talk about Ubisoft fumbling the ball. Ubisoft fumbled the ball so hard with that, dude. They had the original extraction shooter and they fucked it up. I remember, that was a lot of fun. Division with that stuff was actually a lot of fun. The OG Division. I played that back when we were with Squad. I remember going into the dark zones and we were always like getting involved in shenanigans. It was really fun. Marathon is Ark Raiders for people who don't want to get Twitter shamed for doing PvP. Is that what it is? It's like the whole concept of losing all of your gear when you die, though. That is really appealing to me because it reminds me of Ultima Online. I used to play Ultima Online in private servers, and that's the way that it was. It's like you die, you can lose all of your gear. It really just is that simple. Not to mention, there's something worse than losing all of your gear, though. Because here's what happens, right? When you died in Ultima Online, I could chop up your corpse, then rip off your head, and then put your head, locked down on top of my house. And then every time somebody would walk past my house, your head would be there. And, people could see it. They would like hover the mouse over the head and they would say, ah, this is the head of such and such. This is so good. Nothing's a bigger miss for Ubi than For Honor. For Honor was awesome. For Honor was really fun. I loved playing For Honor when it initially came out. But yeah, they fucked that up real bad. It was also like the balance of the game was kind of fucked up after a while. They messed up the balance of the classes real bad. Like I forget which class it was. It was a class that had like a really big weapon. And they would just like do the same move over and over and over, and it was almost uncounterable by most other classes. I remember something like that. Yeah, I think it was some type of a katana. Was it samurai? I don't know. My camera is in sync with my voice. It's probably a YouTube thing. It's been fucked up all day. YouTube's been messing up all day. Like, try refreshing, bro. I don't know what's going on with YouTube servers. There were several such moves, yeah. Don't drag Peeves Ultima Online stories into this. It will never have an end. No. These are not Peeves Ultima. I played it long before I ever met Peeve, dude. Where he's just dubbing himself. Yeah, don't I wish. Did you try refreshing? Is it still giving you issues after refreshing? Like the second time I'm checking this because YouTube's such a piece of garbage. Like the second time I'm checking this because YouTube's such a piece of garbage. It's fine on my end, see? Like this. Yeah, it's weird. YouTube's been being weird like over my last 2 streams. I don't know if YouTube doesn't like the AV1 encoder anymore or what the deal is. I've always streamed on these settings, but a lot of people have been reporting issues today. I'm even streaming on the backup servers, Cowboy, to give you an idea, because when we started streaming on the primary servers today, it instantly exploded. Two weeks now, the YouTube is weird on my end. Yep. Doesn't surprise me. I probably need to switch my settings to be less demanding. Wouldn't want to send too much bitrate to YouTube. It was like, I can handle all this bitrate. There's too much bitrate. I don't know what to do with it. Okay, shout out time for the Longbeards. What the hell happened there?
TQC 1.
That's weird. YouTube reset this. Give me a second. There we go. There we go. Okay. Mobuiz Dragon, Sierra 5-1, Sir Sedan, Nunes Francisco, and Athena the Baddie, Victor, D. Luffy, Golf of Fajus, Saphirian, Renix, Necro Eyes, Vokoro, Hookeye, Venom Pure Evil, Really Old Gamer, Worst Wordmonger, Pascal Calais, Bam Bam, Mizzen Jamal, Quirin Das, Heimdall, Astronar Age, Fox Lavender, Dr. Eisenhower, Sephiroth, Sangetsu, Mr. Wipeout, Inquisitor Reed, Jojo Mojo, Draxus K, J-Walko 4, Senior Bacon 87, U-Video Nerd, Figster, Cole Brick, Red Pig Bank, Angry Scott's Dad, Robert 3966, Report Turret, thank you. Actually, isn't that Shelby Neko? It is. Just change the names again. Thank you very much. Being gross incandescent as Longbeards, you Giga Chads. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dude shouted himself out. Don't think we didn't catch that. Really old gamer. What the f... I'm not really old. I'm just kind of old. Kind of old. Is YouTube still doing that pay for more bitrate feature? They never did. They did for the users. Yeah, for the users. I think they do that. For you to get the premium 1080p or whatever, I think you need to be a premium user to get, right? Because there's still, let me see. Oh, I don't see it. I don't see it here. But then again, I'm a premium user, so I wouldn't see it. But I imagine they're still doing it, yeah. $2K and 4K are still free for some reason? Really? So wait, there's a premium on 1080p, but then you can just get the better resolutions? YouTube and Sense, we don't make much of it. I'm premium light and not enhanced bitrate for me. There's premium light now? Premium 1080p only appears when there are no higher res versions. Interesting. It's so dumb. I wonder if that's an AI thing. Out of topic, not gonna lie, I look like Prince Baelor Targaryen. This guy? Oops. Think I look like this guy? I was about to say he's got more hair than me. He's got more hair than me. It's not fair. Why does he have more hair than me? God damn it. That is a compliment indeed. This is a good looking guy. It's a good looking guy. Ah, this shot is much better. It's a good shot. Wrong direction. It's like that. Do I actually look like the guy? I need the armor. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem. I agree. If only I had the armor. DLSS off. DLSS on. Wait, I want to see it for myself. DLSS off. DLSS. Wait. Shut up. Wait, I was about to say he's got more hair than me. I would have to tilt to the other side, but yeah, actually. Somewhat, yes. Agreed, actually, yeah. Need to trim my beard a little bit, like my mustache a little bit on the big side compared to his, but other than that, yeah. Correct. It does look similar, yes. Okay, so this is good news. Apparently, Stop Killing Games is getting involved in some lawsuit with Ubisoft. I'm real curious about that one. This is apparently all because Ubisoft decided to shut down the crew, and it would have been so easy. It would have been so easy to just make that game offline. But no, they just had to go ahead and be like, no, you don't understand. It's so hard. People never understand us. It's so hard.
Ubisoft's decision to delist the crew keeps coming back to bite them. And now they are being sued by one of the largest consumer rights groups in France, who say that Ubisoft cheated their customers. And if that sounds familiar to you, well, yeah, you're right. This is exactly
Ubisoft cheated their customers in more than just a crew, but yes, correct. Absolutely, 100%.
what started Stop Killing Games. And that's exactly why Stop Killing Games are backing this group. What this also is a big escalation for Stop Killing Games. And if the case succeeds, then, well, consumer gaming as a medium will be utterly changed. First, let's get you up to speed. So since the last time we checked in, Stop Killing Games has basically gone institutional. The European Citizens Initiative signatures have been delivered, and the group has shown up at the European Parliament for the first time. They've established formal NGOs. One
Look at Josh Strife Hayes in there.
has shown up.
Josh Strife Hayes in there with Ross. That's what's up. Josh Drive Hayes gonna show them who's boss.
At the European Parliament for the first time. They've established formal NGOs, one in Europe, another in progress in America, and they're describing themselves as, quote, a global non-profit platform for digital sovereignty, consumer rights, and the preservation of games. So this is more than just a petition, it is an actual advocacy movement that is becoming legit across the world. And that means that they can back other groups who are going after similar things, like the French consumer group that just launched a lawsuit against Ubisoft. Now, if I've learned one thing in my life, it's don't mispronounce French things. It really drives them mad. So I'm going to call this consumer advocacy group UFC, because it's in their name, and I kind of find that funny. So,
Ultimate Fighting Championship seems good.
The UFC are suing Ubisoft for shutting down The Crew in 2024. That's 10 years, of course, after the game came out. And the whole lawsuit comes down to one question. A little bit of an asterisk, it's machine translated, and it puts it like this. Does the purchase of a video game in physical or digital format allow players to claim, at a minimum, a right of use, and here's the key bit, everyone, totally independent of the sole will and authorization of the publisher? That's the key bit. You see, right now, most stores sell games as licenses, not products. And that means that if the company decides, they can just revoke the license. And UFCQC wants to prove whether that is actually legal or not. And to do that, they're going after specific clauses in Ubisoft's license. So let's discuss what they're actually challenging here. There are clauses that let Ubisoft, quote, deny consumers ownership rights over acquired game copies, shut the game down without offering any alternative, that require online services.
And there's a lot of companies that have these same clauses, and I hope that this gets implemented against all of those companies, not just against Ubisoft.
That can be interrupted, and to refuse refunds on any purchases players made inside the game. They are also going after deceptive business practices, alleging the players were never warned that they could lose access. So what they want is a legal answer to these questions, once and for all. Now, it's not the first time that Ubisoft's licenses have been challenged, and it's not the first time that this specific group has even taken on a major gaming company. So to understand what's going on, we should probably talk about what they've already done. But to do that, we're first going to fly over to the good old USA. So, last year, a US class action lawsuit was filed over The Crew. This went down in February 2025, and it landed on two of the same arguments: that players were not warned about losing access, and that Ubisoft revoked access to what players had been treating as property, not merely a license. And Ubisoft's defense there kind of tells us exactly what is coming. Ubisoft said that players never had, quote, unfettered ownership rights in the game. That the physical and digital...
That's just saying the quiet part out loud. You've never actually owned any game. You have a license to the game.
Versions both made it clear that the game needed online servers and that Ubisoft could shut those servers down, and that further to those arguments, precedent was actually on their side in the US. Now, that is thanks to a 2011 ruling over whether Square could take down a Final Fantasy XI account, basically take it away from a player who broke terms of service. Now, obviously, US law is not EU law, but looking at this, we can literally see Ubisoft's defense. We basically know their playbook. And if anyone is ready for a fight against that playbook, it is actually UFCQC. Back in 2020, the target was Nintendo. It was Joy-Cons and planned obsolescence. And they say that their complaint kicked off a chain of action that eventually saw the European Commission and Nintendo extend warranties beyond the legal guarantee. And that was a huge win. Let's just all be honest for a second. The situation with the Switch Joy-Cons was absolutely goddamn absurd. They knew those problems existed for years upon years upon years, and they knew that they would just make a shitload of money over people rebuying Joy-Cons. That was absolute scumbag behavior. Whew, that got me fired up. Anyway, that's one thing UFCQC did pretty well at. But there's another thing. In 2024, a legal complaint against Activision over unexplained player bans in Call of Duty. And that same year, they also pushed for changes to virtual currencies alongside other European consumer groups, following demands for change from EA back in 2022. And that push, as we've covered in this channel, did actually move the needle at the European Consumer Organization. So they've done a lot of stuff, they've had plenty of wins, but they don't always win. In 2024, the French Supreme Court actually ruled against them over whether Steam players could resell their games, and the court cited a 2019 EU ruling on ebooks. Yeah, as it turns out, digital copies could not be resold. and Valve's license terms were basically consistent with that. Now, I should say the rationale behind that ruling was actually quite narrow. It was about reselling digital goods that cannot deteriorate. It wasn't about the bigger ownership questions that we've been dealing with in this video. But win or lose, UFC QC are clearly not afraid of a fight. And at this point, they are pushing well past where Stop Killing Games have gone. It's not just us saying they're going beyond Stop Killing Games. Ross Scott, Stop Killing Games' founder, actually makes the same point in his video. He says that this case is, quote, pushing the Overton window in some respects. Now, as he points out, Stop Killing Games haven't actually asked for legal requirements to keep games running after live support ends. Not yet, anyway. This lawsuit is one that goes way further than that, and it's making the labeling argument as well. So that's the one basically saying that Ubisoft never warned people that the game could be taken away. Now, Ross is not convinced that that one is a clear win, and I think he's basically right. But they are still backing this group. They're backing UFC QC, and they're doing so materially. You see, this case has been in the works for over a year, and Stop Killing Games say that they have data and receipts from their French supporters that actually helped get the suit off the ground. And here is what a spokesperson described the move as to us. A step up in ambition and impact, not just continuation of the previous public goals. We have become a movement now, and with the NGO, we have bigger plans for the gaming industry. I'm sure there's a few people in the gaming industry who are not particularly happy about that. But this really would be a step up in...
All those people can go fuck themselves. Hell yeah, dude. Digital ownership. Absolutely.
plans. What they're pushing for here would genuinely upend how this industry works. It's basically this. Should one of the world's biggest economies treat games as products or treat games as licenses? Now that could put the EU...
A video game is a product. End of discussion. I solved the problem. Look at that. We solved it, guys. It's a product. You buy it, you own it. Oh no.
Completely out of step with the rest of the world, who have erred on the side of the licenses. I mean, think about what Steam had to do in 2024, where they actually added a warning to the storefront that you are buying a license. And Steam did that for all of us because a California law required it. So would they have to go even further with, say, the EU? What does it even look like for a library of thousands of games? And there's a real question about what sorts of things would break if this succeeds. Right now, you see, companies use license terms to moderate players, banning cheaters, removing abusive users. Now, if games are products and not licenses, does it get harder to ban someone? Now, a Stop Killing Games spokesperson told us that they see it differently, that whoever runs the servers still does get to enforce the rules, regardless of how a game is classified. But considering UFC QC already brought a complaint against Activision over exactly those kind of bans, well, you could see where this could all get a bit complicated. We're now speculating because nobody's actually done this before. And this ruling would essentially lock in the status quo or force companies into something that is completely new. And even if the status quo wins, that does just make the law itself the next target. And of course, that is a fight that Stop Killing Games have now built themselves for, and it's exactly where they'll go. Okay, so after this case plays out, and remember, it will be appealed, there will be some clarity. Either companies can keep doing what Ubisoft did, or they'll have to deal with an entirely new set of rules. But this is just one front of a broader thing. Stop Killing Games' complaint to the French Consumer Protection Agency is still with that regulator. The European Citizens Initiative gets its hearing at the European Parliament on April 16th this year. And in many ways that's a big one because it's their shot to make their case directly to legislators. And with funding from developers like Alderon Games, partnerships with UFC QC and Does It Play, the infrastructure is actually there now. So Stop Killing Games is not going anywhere. And this is something that started off with a YouTube video and a petition. It's now evolved into lawsuits, parliamentary hearings, and institutional lobbying across multiple countries. So the question isn't whether the games industry will have to reckon with this. They will have to reckon with it. The real question is how long they can put it off and how much they can use the various processes in various countries to slow these efforts down. So expect many appeals over many years, and if you're someone who expected a lot of the Crimson Desert, like noise and anger and, these people versus those people, etc., to kind of be a load of bullshit that says more about people than it does the actual game, you should watch this video next. The whole story of that game is fascinating.
We actually just watched that one, but yeah, this is very, very interesting. Ubisoft getting sued over something that they could have completely avoided. Like, Ubisoft is another one of those companies. Like, Bungie and Ubisoft to me are just two companies that I can't stand them. I think they're terrible. It's just that simple. I think these are terrible people. What is it with YouTube doing these? Like, do you guys see these Chinese or Japanese characters in chat as well? Like, now they're in front of my name. I don't know why that happens. So weird. I think YouTube is probably implementing some new features, and that might be why the servers are like lagging and all of that stuff. There's like strange characters in front of people's names every now and then when they speak. Don't see nothing like that. Interesting. Maybe only I can see it. Okay. Yeah, they're probably implementing some type of new feature and it's messed up because I just refreshed it and it's still doing it, but whatever. While they're at it, go after Nintendo for trying to go after people emulating the games you can't legit buy anymore. Yeah, that's gonna be a rough one. It's not your neural implants tweaking. Yeah, it might be that. My neural link or whatever. Yeah, this situation would stop killing games. So this next one isn't necessarily related to it's not necessarily related to gaming, but it's also an important topic to talk about. This might have already been sorted. I'm not entirely sure. But this is a lady called Murphy Campbell. And she apparently does music on YouTube. She plays a banjo. And somebody trained an AI on her voice and then got signed up with a publisher. And that publisher then went onto YouTube and started claiming this person's original content because somebody uploaded AI-trained versions of her music. And they used that to claim all of her content on YouTube, which is something that I've said a million times. This is so easy. This is so easy to do. Like, I can do this right now. Like, I could go and just, to give you guys an idea, I could go and download a video from Fightin' Cowboy's channel, then claim it as my own, and then just say, oh, that's actually mine. Now, then we'd have to go into a legal battle because Fightin' Cowboy is going to fuck me up if I try to do that. But it's like, what I'm saying is that the system allows you to do that shit, which is absolutely ridiculous.
I'm going to try to catch y'all up on what happened because this is crazy. It's unprecedented. It's the Wild West, and it could happen to anyone. Basically, as you already know, an entity called Timeless Sounds IR uploaded AI-generated versions of my songs to all major streaming platforms. And to do that, they fed YouTube videos of me to an AI engine that then mimicked my voice in playing. They used a distributor, which I just discovered, and that distributor's name is Vidya. They used Vidya to upload all these AI-generated songs, and Vidya has since decided that it was going to make copyright claims on all of the videos that were used to feed that AI engine to sound like me. So Vidya has come forward and made copyright claims on my YouTube page. And because YouTube does not personally review these things, I am no longer making money on YouTube. Vidya is making money on YouTube off of my own videos of me playing my own banjo in my own backyard with traditional folk songs.
Technically not. It's not off of your own videos. It is of a trained AI on your... So it is an AI that stole your likeness in terms of your voice and your play style. And then that AI made new videos, and then those videos are what they're using to claim yours. It's even more fucked up than if they did it based on her videos. So, yeah. I know that they get money from her videos. I know how it works. I'm just saying that they didn't use her video directly to steal from her. They used an AI that trained on her video So, there's an extra step in there. It doesn't change how fucked up it is. But yes.
Some for my own
Yeah, the money from her videos goes to the copyright claimer. Yes, correct.
family over AI generated music. So I just wanted to update y'all, and
I think you guys misunderstood me. What I said was they didn't use her videos to claim her videos. They used other videos to claim her videos, but whatever. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. She could sue and win. No, she does not need. Does she need to trademark her own music? The problem is not everybody has enough time or money to get lawyers involved to sort out this problem, and that is how copyright trolls operate. They know that you don't have the money or the time to go and dispute this in a court of law. And some people, because of the fact that everything that involves YouTube legislation needs to be sorted out in a court in the US somewhere, I forget exactly if it's in California or whatever, probably wherever YouTube's headquarters is. But yeah, because that is the place where the legislative stuff needs to happen. So for instance, if somebody was to upload my videos, then copyright claim them and take away my revenue, there's actually, I'm going to have to spend way too many resources to try and get that shit back, which is a serious fucking problem. But it's not easy. It is not easy. You need to go pay a lawyer to go deal with this somewhere else where you're not. So you need to find a good lawyer, a good copyright lawyer that's going to handle things on your behalf in a place that you aren't even at. It's a huge issue. And yes, this happens all the fucking time. Like, to give you guys an idea, a lot of the times it even happens without the original creator intending it. So for instance, I've had my shit copyrighted by Jacksepticeye. You guys are like, whoa, what the fuck? It's not his fault, because what happened was he changed networks or whatever, back when we still had MCNs. I don't know if he's associated with a network still or not, but like it was during a time where Jacksepticeye changed networks, and the people that were handling his content instantly said anything that's Jacksepticeye we're automatically claiming. And because Jacksepticeye does a lot of gameplay, naturally, me and Jacksepticeye are going to have some overlap in terms of cutscenes in some games. And so I had like a load of my content just instantly claimed by Jacksepticeye, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? It was pretty fast reverted, like, I don't know, it was a day or two or something like that, and then they reverted it back. But, there wasn't a whole lot that I could really do.
I wanted to let you know that the only thing I can do about it is dispute this copyright claim. I can't dispute.
Here's the thing about disputing copyright claims that a lot of people also don't understand. A copyright claim dispute is basically you sending a request to the person who made the claim in the first place and telling them, hey, this is actually my content. But if you made the claim, you can just say, no, it's mine, fuck you. And then the only way for the other person to get that reverted is to go through legal and actually hire a lawyer and get legal proceedings started. So the whole dispute thing is basically you telling the person who, in most cases, because they're copyright trolls, is just going to say, no, it's mine. Fuck you. I want to make money off of you. Eat shit. So yeah, if your dispute fails, it becomes a strike. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That is the appeal. If the appeal fails, it becomes a strike. If the dispute fails, it just continues to enforce the claim, and then you have to appeal. If the appeal fails, then it becomes a strike. Now, they do say that if your dispute gets, if your dispute fails, then it can become a strike, but it never does. At least with me, it never did. I've had a bunch of disputes that failed. They've never became strikes. But if you appeal, that's when they say, okay, now it's definitely going to become a strike. But I've never had that happen. I find it interesting because a while back we even had that community warning, but I don't think I have a community warning in my channel anymore. Remember we had that community warning because we published that footage of the weirdo trying to kiss Emiru? What a great platform. Yeah, I
dispute
know.
the copyright claim with YouTube because YouTube doesn't get involved. I can dispute it with Vidya. Do you think Vidya is going to listen to me?
No.
I don't think so.
Because again, that's the way that it works. The dispute goes to Video, which is the distributor that made the copyright claim in the first place, and all they have to do is say, no, fuck you, get a lawyer. And then she has to go get a lawyer, and I'm assuming that's probably not going to be easy for her, because if I remember correctly, your channel has like 40K subs or something like that, which is, you know, it's not to the point where you're probably making like billions of dollars that you can just afford to like go get like a big fancy lawyer to go deal with this for you, which is a huge issue. But yeah.
So yes, that's AI generated music for y'all, and these are the consequences of using it. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
if this looks like a bright future, I'd reconsider.
Of course, if she got a lawyer, she'd win because it's cut and dry. Is it? Yeah, she'd pay more than she's losing. That's the problem. Yeah, you are right. Like, the law supposedly should be on her side, but at the same time, she will end up losing more money than she's making. So, yeah. Wouldn't YouTuber, as your employer, have a legal responsibility to pay the correct person? Absolutely not. YouTube doesn't give a fuck. Okay? You guys, I don't know if you guys have this idea that YouTube's like, oh, YouTube's going to fight for me. And it's like, no. That doesn't work like that. Does not work like that at all. But yeah, this is another fun little AI situation. And like you guys were pointing out, this also happened. Strangely enough, it didn't happen to me with the NVIDIA DLSS 5 video. I know that a lot of people got claims and shit like that because they were doing an analysis on the DLSS 5 video. I did that too. I didn't get flagged on that French TV thing, whatever, for some reason. I don't know how that happened. Like, I instantly expected I was going to get flagged as well. It ended up not happening. So I'm like, cool beans. This time I didn't get hit by it, but I know that a lot of people got hit by the thing. Those of you that don't know what this is, the DLSS 5 video that NVIDIA put out, there was some French TV channel or whatever it was that made a news piece on that, and then they just claimed including the original, they claimed everyone's usage of that video, even NVIDIA's usage, who were the original posters of the video. They also got their shit claimed, which was funny. But yeah. Giving a fuck isn't the point. Legally, they could be liable, is what I'm saying. YouTube is not liable because that's the reason why they've come up with the Content ID system. It is specifically so that they're not liable because they just say, hey, anything that the users upload, that's up to them. It's none of my business. That's why they're a platform and not a publisher, even though they act as a publisher more often than not. But, you know, it is what it is. And when I say they act as a publisher, there's just so many things that they do. Like, for instance, the age rating of most of my videos was actually like, I forget what it was. There was that time where there was a group of people that was able to dig up the rating code. I forget what was the name. Was it a P score, whatever they called it? But there was like this thing where there was an age rating score for all the videos on YouTube, and somebody figured out a way to access the back end and, you know, figure out what the P score of a specific video was. And it was super interesting to see because most of my videos were rated like mature or something like that. And then all of the late night talk show host videos were rated as PG-13 or whatever it was. And it was interesting because in one of those videos, because I remember there was like a really, you know, heavy joke that I had seen. I think was it Stephen Colbert? I forget if that's his name. I don't know the name of all the talk show hosts, but he said something about Trump's mouth being Putin's cock holster or something along those lines. And I was like, oh, so this video is PG-13. All right. Somebody's mouth being used as a cock holster. That's PG-13. Me playing a video game? Nah, that's mature, bro. That's way too mature. So it's just interesting to see how they still are acting as a publisher. Is it really that easy to win in court if you never copyrighted your own content to begin with? You'd essentially be fighting with your YouTube videos versus an actual copyright. I have no idea. I have no idea how easy it would be, technically speaking, because she created her own video before the other videos were uploaded. I would say it's like, hey, you can't just, you know, her video came first. So even though those guys can register the AI slop that they're registering and trademark it and all of that bullshit, if something already exists, I don't think they get to just claim something that exists. Now we have a couple of more stories here. Speaking of AI, I've heard of the Mythos situation. I've heard about it. I haven't looked too deeply into it. Like some AI that got away from its boundaries or whatever. Something from the Anthropic guys. Apparently it was so advanced that it was able to break through. Then it bragged about it. It was interesting stuff, but I don't know how much of it is accurate, unfortunately. It's the most developed AI that has been made. They're keeping it private. Yeah, so I hear. So following up on some more AI news, Phantom Blade Zero Studio says no to AI visual tech has been used during development. So they haven't used anything like the LSS5. This was something that I was actually concerned because if you guys remember when the LSS5 shenanigans happened, these guys were listed as one of the studios that was partnering up with NVIDIA to work with the LSS5 technology. And I was concerned because I'm like, no, wait a minute. S-Game is working on Phantom Blade Zero, but they're saying that none of that was used in development. S-Game, the studio behind upcoming game Phantom Blade Zero, has affirmed that AI visual tech hasn't been used during development. In a lengthy post on social media, game director Kuei Soulframe Liang shares the news. His name is Soulframe? Interesting. Shares the news that Phantom Blade Zero is currently in the intense final stages of development. That means the game should be on track for its planned release date of 9th of September 2026. However, Liang also addressed the rise in concerns around AI-generated content in games. We're fully aware that a profound technological revolution is unfolding around us, he says. However, to this day, every single piece of content in our game has been crafted by the hands of real artists. We will not use AI visual tech that could alter our artists' original creative intent. We firmly believe that human artistry is not merely the means for creating value, it is the value itself. Good. I hope you guys keep it that way. No backseas, no backtracking now. In the post, he goes on to specifically flag that Phantom Blade Zero detailed in-game maps are not AI generated. They were hand-drawn using Chinese brushes and Xuan paper, rice paper, by young artists from the Chinese painting department at the Central Academy of Fine Arts, Liang says. Post also highlights some of S-Game's other efforts to authentically create Phantom Blade Zero's content. For example, combat animations were made by motion capturing highly experienced martial artists and sword masters from Mount Imei, a mountain found in China's Sichuan province. And I can attest to the quality of animation work when it comes to this game. I've also gotten to play this game twice at Gamescom. It is absolutely awesome. It's actually funny because both this and Crimson Desert were usually like booths that were fairly close together. So the last two times that I went to Gamescom, I played both of these games, and both of these games were the ones that kind of like marked me the most, apart from obviously Monster Hunter. But these were the two games that marked me the most out of pretty much everything else that I've seen on the show. It's always Crimson Desert, Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero is going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot recommend this game enough. While Liang's post hasn't come in response to a specific wave of concerns or allegations of Gen AI use at S-Game, it is likely the product of several other recent cases of games incumbent. What do you mean? Of course it did, because they were listed as one of the partners of DLSS 5. That's probably the reason why they're talking about it. Like, I remember seeing their name. Where were the partners? They had something where they said that they were partnering up with people. Wait, are the partners no longer there? Ah, here we go. Availability and game develop support. The LSS5 will be supported by the industry's biggest publishers and game developers, including Bethesda, Capcom, Hotta Studio, NetEase, NCSoft, and S-Game. S-Game being the people behind Phantom Blade Zero. This is likely why they're talking about it. They probably did get some backlash based on the LSS5 presentation. It's likely the product of several other recent cases of games and companies being criticized for using technology. A recently high-profile example is Crimson Desert developer Pearl Abyss unintentionally left a handful of AI-generated props in some of the game's buildings. Pearl Abyss swiftly apologized and replaced all the flagged assets with human-made ones. March 2026 unveiling of NVIDIA's upcoming LSS technology was also highly controversial. The LSS5 uses generative AI to deliver a dramatic leap in visual realism. According to NVIDIA, however, its demo, which featured games such as Starfield, Resident Evil, Requiem, was criticized for the way in which it altered the appearance of characters and scenes. Phantom Blade Zero launches will be a PlayStation console exclusive for the first 12 months. It will also arrive on PC day one through both Epic Games Store and Steam. Time of writing, it is the 20th most wishlisted game on Steam per Storefront's top wishlists rankings. It's gonna be really good. Like, I'm telling you, I've experienced this game. It's really, really good. We all use AI, but it's such a look-down topic when a company does. AI has been used in gaming for years in almost every game. Just depends on how nitty-gritty you want to get. Lots of modeling uses it. No, it's like, it depends on which part of the process AI is being used for. So, like, for instance, you can use AI, like I said, if you want to do it to maybe optimized in between animations or something along those lines. There are things that I feel like there are uses for AI where I can come in and like take some of the grunt work away. But say, for instance, if you're writing dialogue between two characters, you're like, oh, I don't feel like writing this dialogue. Let's get the AI to write something. That is terrible. Or, oh, I don't feel like designing this character. Just have AI generate blonde NPC number 10. That's also not good. That's the thing. It's about what are you using it for? And I feel like everybody's going to have different, how should I put it? Everybody's going to have different standards for the way that this stuff is implemented in games. But yeah, I get that. The point is that any AI use is being grouped into this topic. Yes, this is true. I'm not against people using specific AI tools. I'm against them using AI for, like, for instance, I'm against the usage of AI for what the LSS5 did, where they fundamentally changed characters' geometry. Even though they said, oh, it's not changing geometry, it absolutely did. And it changed the intention of scenes. It changed so much stuff, which I don't agree with, but yeah. Feel like this is free marketing for the dev. They do not need to address it. Not, yeah, it is. It is, Fishman. In a way, it is. So then we also have some bad news, and a lot of you guys have been asking me to talk about this one. I was very sad when I first saw this on the timeline. This was when I was on vacation. I saw it posted on Twitter, and I was like, holy shit, that fucking sucks. But yeah. First Berserker Kazan developers reassigned after poor commercial performance. How many copies did this sell? First Berserker Kazan copies sold. Do we not have like a number of how many copies were sold? I was hoping we'd have official numbers. I wonder if they mentioned that here, maybe. Members of the development team behind the action RPG The First Berserk Kazan have reportedly been reassigned to a different team after the game underperformed commercially. Developed by Neeple and published by parent company Nexon, The First Berserk Kazan released in March 2025. The game takes place within the universe of Neeple franchise Dungeon Fighter and received a strong reception at launch. It garnered a very positive review rating on Steam, while IGN called it a brutal but impressive Souls-like. According to a report from Korean outlet Yonhap News, however, the game eventually fell short of commercial expectations despite its initially positive performance. Because of this, about 100 members of Kazan's development team have reportedly been moved to Neeple's in-house reassignment unit Team R. In a statement seen by Yonhap News, Nexon officials stated, as the roadmap for the large-scale Kazan project enters its completion phase, we have decided to separate the organization responsible for completing the remaining missions from the personnel assigned to other projects that require concentration of human resources. We plan to actively support the personnel with the expertise who led the completion of global AAA title through the Kazan project so that they can be assigned to projects where they can utilize their respective experience and capabilities. Speaking of video games, contacted Nexon for comment. In a recent capital markets briefing, Nexon CEO Jung-Hoon Lee praised Kazan, noting that it delivered hardcore action experience tailored specifically to Western audiences, demonstrated that Dungeon & Fighter can travel. We're not prepared for its China launch, which will further validate its long-term potential, he also said at the time. Kazan is also included in a publishing agreement with Tencent to bring high-potential Nexon games like The Finals, Arc Raiders, and The First Berserk Kazan to millions of new players in China. During the same briefing, Nexon chairman Patrick Sutherland also stated Dungeon Fighter Mobile underperformed structurally. The revenue he expected for margin recovery didn't come through on schedule. Let's use AI to try and estimate how many sales it made. Many copies at First Berserker Kazan. So let's see if we can get a good estimate. Oof. Around from 500,000 to 700,000 copies on Steam. Estimates with no official total across all platforms publicly confirmed. Steam estimates as of recent data, 548,000, 549,000 copies sold. 26 million gross revenue for base game. Oof. That is rough, dude. Do you guys think that the publisher might also be a problem? Do you guys think the publisher might also be one of the issues? Because, like, I remember at the time when they announced First Berserker Kazan and it said this, like, published by Nexon, first thing that I thought about was like, oh, Nexon, they make all of those free-to-play games with, like, really bad pay-to-win stuff. It was a bad release window. It came out at the same time as Expedition 33. I mean, not everybody expected Expedition 33 to explode. Wouldn't trust the answers given by a glorified autocomplete. I mean, you don't have to. They're saying that it underperformed. It's like it's estimating based on Steam charts. It wouldn't surprise me if it's somewhat correct. People just hate Nexon. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Nexon in general, but I really liked First Berserker Kazan. I remember we had to take a break after the chick with the shield beat the shit out of me. We're also playing something else at the time. I forget what it was. But I remember we had to take a break between First Berserker Kazan and then coming back to complete it. It was still fun. I really enjoyed the game. I think it was really good. Kind of sucks because, like, the next game that this team was going to make was going to be so much more fucking awesome. Oh yeah, Pascal Calais, you need some crazy twitch reflexes in this game. If you are feeling like, oh, my old hands, I can't keep up. This is one of those games that, yeah, you do get to a point where the fights just get so fast. Like I remember in some of the toughest fights, my hands actually started cramping up. So yeah. No, I didn't play the boss rush. Wasn't the game stupid hard? It was challenging. You needed to understand the mechanics in order to really take proper advantage of it, yes. But it's like once you understood more or less and you optimized your gear a little bit, it became more doable. But yeah, there were some bosses that were just like really rough. You talking Consort Radon levels of hand cramping? I don't remember my hands cramping up in Consort Radon. But then again, the strategy that I used to kill Consort Radon, a lot of people say it doesn't count. You mean, can't use a great shield? Okay. I go in there with a great hammer. You can't use a great hammer? Well, what the fuck? What can I use? You don't beat it unless you beat it with a broken weapon, you fucking casual. It's like, sorry. I like playing tanky characters. Didn't beat the game, sorry. Radon pre-nerf was bullshit though. I killed him pre-nerf. Consort Radon was questionable fight at best. It's like, look, if you're not willing to use all the tools at your disposal, I don't think you get to complain. That's the one thing that I will say. Because there were a lot of people that were like, I don't want to use great shields. I don't want to use spirit summons. I don't want to use all of these things. This fight is bullshit. It's like, you're not using everything at your disposal. Bleed-infused Anspur Rapier. I didn't use that. I think I just used the spear the first time we killed it. Yeah, we're using the Gunlance build. I just thought it was funny when I killed him with the other one. You guys want to rewatch that kill? Do I still have that? I wonder. Let's see. Do you guys remember this, dude? Dude, this was so good. You guys remember this video? Where's the audio? You guys remember this video? Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you. We will rock you. Buddy, you're a young man, hard man, shouting and... By the way, these were all different deaths. Street gonna take on the world someday. Got blood on your face, you big disgrace, waving your banner all over the place, singing, we will rock you. We will rock you. Oh crap! Oh, that was so good. Wait, let me look up what I was looking for. it's here. Is it this attempt? I think it's this attempt, right? Has to be. So, people kept telling me the only reason you beat him is because you used the Great Shield, and I was like, okay. Let's try this then. Fuck! It's so miserable when you miss that. No Great Shield, just the biggest fucking hammer I could find. That's how you get it done. Bam. Phase 2. Bam. Well, the thing didn't happen again, boys. Just block that shit with a hammer like a Chad. Like a Chad. Boom. Need that break. 0 fucks given. Boom. Excuse me, let me just get some mana and now. Boom. Boom. Again. Boom. Yes. Do it. And now for maximum greed. Boom. Sit down, bitch. Woo! It was so hard, you guys. You don't understand. You don't understand how hard Consort Radon was. People got so mad. They were mad when I killed him with a Great Shield, then they were even more mad when I did this. Use Lion's Claw doesn't count. Exactly. It's so funny. Oh man, I'm happy. I killed him like 2-3 times. Skibidi fragments didn't beat the game. I'm using everything, bro. Like, listen, I'm not the best Souls player. I've said it a million times. I'm not looking to be the best Souls player. Over-leveled aura? What? What? What aura? What are you talking about? Oh my god. I wasn't blindfolded, so that run didn't count. Yeah, agreed. Big agree. You're the first person I think of when I imagine a Souls player. I mean, sure, but I'm not the best. I've always said I'm not the best. I wouldn't even say I'm good. I think I'm decent. I think I'm okay at Souls games. That's it. Arseni, I think that's valid at a certain skill level. That's not the skill level that I'm at. That's just the thing. And here's the thing. I could work myself up to that skill level, but I don't want to. I'm only using stuff that's in the game. I'm not using any mods, no cheats, no nothing. But I am using the tools the game has given me. And by the way, if I hadn't been able to kill him with the Great Shield or with the hammer, I would have gone to spirits. I don't give a fuck. I would have summoned spirits. Straight up. I challenged myself not to summon spirits, but that was something that I did consciously. Like, I'm aware of the fact that I am limiting my chances of success by not using summon spirits because that is a decision that I am making. But I would not be above using it if it got to that point. Absolutely. Have you seen Ouroboros try this fight in New Game Plus 7? No. I can only imagine. It absolutely is a victory, Curly, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. I forget which game it was where I tried doing something on New Game Plus, one of the Souls games, and it worked out really bad for me doing a DLC in New Game Plus. It might have even been the Ringed City. Ringed City was fucking miserable. Think it would have been easier if you were a Guardian? Maybe. And so, following up on that report, because the first Berserker Kazan stuff is confirmed, there's also a rumor that the same thing happened to Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which is just like, bro, these were two really cool games. I will admit, I think I had more fun with Fallen Feathers than Kazan. I don't know, something with the combat of Wu Chang clicked with me faster than it did with Kazan. But yeah, apparently Len Z might have been taking a more brutal approach. So Wu Chang Fallen Feathers producer director fired, and studio is facing layoffs. It's puzzling to see Wu Chang Fallen Feathers' poor response, given it's a title that did some creative things with the tried and tested Souls-like formula. Absolutely, it did a lot of really cool stuff. One of the things that I liked is that I seem to remember you could recover like your spell usage shenanigans by just doing combat, and that is so cool. Because like I never liked the whole idea of having, oh, you have 5 spells till you find the next bonfire equivalent. It's like, I don't like that. I want to be using the things that I have access to often. I don't want to have to be limited all the time. It's like the whole concept of like, oh, you're playing a shooter game, but you have no bullets anytime. So you have to actually just like also think about when you're going to be using bullets. I know that there's an appeal there for some people, but for me not. It's like, I want to make my build and I want to use my abilities. And I remember didn't I play Magic for a while, and then I swapped the build because I found like this weird Gunlance looking thing or whatever. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this game. This game is really, really good. We thought it was great, but it hasn't done well enough to stave off a rather troubling turn of events. A developer, Len Z. These are rumors, so this one's still a rumor. Remain unconfirmed at the moment, as Gamersky reports on whispers among leakers that the team behind the game has been laid off after the studio was dissatisfied with the game's reception. And here's the thing, the story of this game, I also remember really liking it. I thought it was cool. Producer and director Jia Shi-wan is apparently a notable one among them. He reportedly registered his own company, although other employees apparently haven't fared as well. There's talk of unpaid salaries and legal action, more trouble for a studio that faced extensive controversy when the game was released, owing to its shaky performance dominating much of the initial discourse. A fair amount of additional content was also allegedly ready to go for Wu Chang, which could have helped it gain a little more traction, but might now remain unused, courtesy of the team's exit. It's a shame, as this is certainly a title that many among us would have loved to dive back in to take new threats or explore more visually stunning levels. It's so weird. Like, do we have a number of copies sold for this one? It says here that it sold over 1 million copies. It sold over 1 million copies, dude. What the fuck? And apparently it had like 1 million downloads on Game Pass. They compared it with Wukong and said not enough. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, dude. I really liked Wu Chang. And yeah, I was also not a big fan that they changed some stuff. With the, I remember that there was something that they did with the story afterwards where they changed some of the stuff. We never really got to experience that, but it was weird. Yeah. See you later, Antonio. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. It just really sucks to see both First Berserker Kazan and Wu Chang Studios kind of like getting ripped. I feel like there's a lot of really good games that the industry is just not recognizing their value. Because again, they just want that big hit. They're chasing that crazy high. It's because of budgets, man. They're putting way too much money into these games. And then they're just ballooning the budgets, and then the profits just aren't enough. But yeah, team, that was the news for now. I have a lot of stuff that I gotta get to work on. I want to make some more videos and shenanigans, but I just really wanted to touch base with y'all. Thank you all very much for the support. Thank you for not forgetting me, even though I've been away for like 2 weeks. I wanted to leave some content on the channel, but I just wasn't able to because of the kids, man. It's like I don't have as much time as I used to have. Like, the more they grow, the more time I need, but I want to spend with them. And it's just like trying to keep up with all these massive games that keep coming out. It's just like really, really hard. But thank you guys very much for showing up. Thank you guys very much for the support. I'm going to try and see if I can do another stream today. We'll probably play some Stories 3 if I'm able to. But I might not be able to do one today. If not, then I'll see you guys tomorrow. But yeah, love you guys. Thank you all very much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys later. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.